Mornings with Brian. Moody Radio Cleveland. 103.3 at 6 to 9 a.m.
and Lake counties and beyond. This is Moody Radio Cleveland, WCRF Cleveland, WVMS Sandusky, WVML Millersburg, WVME Meadville, WVMN Newcastle, WVMU Ashtabula, or stream us anywhere with the Moody Radio app, other streaming services, and at moodyradio.org/Cleveland.
The Summer Olympics are over. It's 6 o'clock. I'm Ron Eastwood, Moody Radio News. The final competitions took place early Sunday with the U.S. women's basketball team closing out the games by defeating France in a nail-biter. The win gave Team USA 40 gold medals and 126 overall. First Energy reports that crews are continuing to work to get all customers who lost power in last week's storms back online. In a Sunday update, the company said that 97% of impacted customers have had their power restored. Cuyahoga County folks who remain in the dark should expect to be back online before midnight tonight. And Governor Mike DeWine has declared a state of emergency for counties impacted by last week's damaging storms and tornadoes in northeast Ohio. On Saturday, DeWine issued his declaration for Summit, Cuyahoga, Ashtabula, Geauga, Lake, Lorain, Portage, and Trumbull counties. The governor says that declaration will give the state the ability to provide those communities with expedited assistance if requested. I'll be right back with sports and weather.
Counseling, it's what God created you to do. When you earn your Master of Arts in Clinical Mental Health Counseling from Moody Bible Institute, you'll be equipped to help others become who God created them to be. Study at Moody's Chicago or Michigan campus, where you can secure certificates in the areas of marriage, family, and couples counseling, as well as trauma-informed counseling. Learn more and get started on your counseling career today. Go to moody.edu/counseling.
In sports, the Guardians beat the Twins 5-3, while the Pirates got walked off by the Dodgers 6-5 in 10 innings. And in case you missed it, the Browns got crushed by the Packers 23-10 in their preseason opener, while the Steelers fell to the Texans 20-12. Here's your Moody Radio Cleveland forecast. Mostly sunny this morning, then clouds will roll in later in the day. Our high temperature will be in the upper 70s. At last check, we did have some clear skies in our listening area. Just 58 degrees in Cleveland, 57 Akron and Canton, 59 in Youngstown.
It's time for your moron moment.
Celebrate the age-old art of hunting for a good deal with National Bargain Hunting Week, which is observed annually in the second week of August. That's August 12 to 18 this year. We love the hunt and the final deals, whether we're searching at a yard sale, Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist, or browsing the clearance racks at the local department store. To paraphrase the Hunger Games, may the deals be ever in your favor. And that's your Moron Moment.
Moron.
And you'll find that on our Facebook and Instagram. It's 6:03. With Moody Radio News, I'm Ron Eastwood.
Broadcasting live from the Bob Devine Studio. It's Mornings with Brian. Want to join the conversation? Call or text now at 440-546-22.
Mornings with Brian. Moody Radio Cleveland. 103.3 at 6 to 9 a.m.
A new week is upon us, and the team, here we are, together again. Now, Ron made the big announcement, of course, that everyone knows, which is the Olympics are over now.
What am I going to do?
Right, you were way into it, right?
It was just always on. Whatever the big sport for the day was on.
Aw.
Were you watching on like network TV, like you had?
No
NBC?
Peacock app.
Yeah, the Peacock app did
was
a
very
great
good.
job.
Oh, yeah. You could go watch highlights from the sports you wanted to watch.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, you could, search by sport. You could search by athlete.
Very cool.
So you could watch that athlete's highlights. You could do a multi-view of just the top events happening at that time.
Because that's always been the frustration is that you're locked in. It's, 4 a.m. our time when the event you want to see is being performed.
Yeah.
But if you don't have to, wow.
No, they did a great job. So you could go watch stuff. It would be like, highlights from that day or live and upcoming or whatever. It was really good.
Yeah, I was way into the women's 4x100. Way
Really?
into
So
that.
good.
I don't know
It
why I
was
got so excited.
good.
But I missed the final, so I was looking through the app, and I was like, oh, look they have the actual 45-second
Yeah, you don't
thing.
have all the stuff around it. You just want the actual event.
I hit the wrong thing, and I'm watching another event. I'm like, they go, and now we'll say hello to, camera goes in front of an athlete, and they wave.
Yeah.
And that takes 20 minutes, which is cool, but I don't want to watch that. I want to see the
Right.
race.
Yeah, that was my mom's complaint why she didn't watch a whole lot this year. I'll have to tell her about this for the next Olympics, is that she's like, the stories are cool, but at some point it's like, I just want to watch the event.
Yeah.
And there's just so much of that.
Yeah, the women in the 4x100 are so fast. Carrie
Yeah,
Richardson.
Carrie came from
and-
fourth to first.
Oh, and she did this thing where she'd look at the person as she passed him real quick.
Yes.
I don't know if she did it subconsciously or what she was doing, but it'd be
Yeah,
this
maybe
quick
she was
like,
doing it to see
bye.
to see where she was at, like if she was in front of them or not. But
Oh, wow, it was incredible. And I was so excited for almost a full 2 weeks to see breaking.
Yeah.
Which I called it breakdancing for so long and then realized that was wrong. Because I remember, Ron, way back in the olden days, when you'd see videos of people like on the streets in New York City in the 80s doing breakdancing, you were like, you'd see it and you go, whoa, like that's incredible. Do you remember this?
Yeah, they were really gifted, dare I say, athletes in their own right.
And then something happened in the last number of decades where I got to be honest, it was one of the most disappointing things I've watched. And we haven't even brought up Australia yet. I'm just saying, like, even the best ones, guys, it was not interesting.
Not good, really?
it was not very interesting.
I was super underwhelmed.
Yeah.
It was like,
I don't know if it's just because it was the first time, and so like the judges and whoever was creating the space didn't do a great job. It was just really not a good situation.
because I remember like they'd always do even in the olden days, there's like a warm up kind of dance you do, which
Yeah.
you're like, here it comes. It's going to be cool. And then like some of the top athletes in the world supposedly at breakdancing would do stuff I feel like, I'm not going to say I could do it, but it wouldn't take long for me to figure it out either. Some of them were great, but
And it could also be that the type of people that are good at breakdancing aren't the type of people who are going to go to the Olympics.
I think that's what it is.
That could be
That
it.
could be.
And it's not going to be, it's not on the list for Los Angeles. Like,
Which is where you'd think it would be.
right.
Yeah.
But breaking may never happen again in the Olympics, and I guess I'm not that sad because one athlete, I think, ruined it for the entire world.
Who's made headlines.
She seems like a very nice person, and I don't question her niceness or her value as a human being. But there was a 34-year-old. Now, you're how old again? 31?
Yes.
I mean, it's like a mom went out there and did some moves that were so bad. Lauren,
It was pretty bad.
did you guys see it?
Nope.
There are memes flying around the internet of an Australian woman, B-girl, ray gun or something.
Yeah, ray gun.
Oh, my goodness.
I'll need to like search it, but I'm pretty sure someone said that she's like a professor of breaking, and they think that she kind of flubbed it on purpose.
No, she's a professor, but not like she does other types of dance.
Oh, she does other dance. Okay.
Yeah, but it was like,
Yeah, I read somewhere they thought she might have flubbed it on purpose.
if a
what they
34-year-old
said.
mom went to like show her kids, make them laugh, like what she would do
Hey, we're not going to
breakdancing.
disparage moms.
There's nothing wrong with moms.
Hey, there was a lot of moms that were running that won gold medals.
If it was a guy, I would have said dads.
Oh, sure.
No, I Lauren happened to be like she went out there and did like how I've seen moms make fun of kid trends.
Yes.
It was really, really
It was
bad.
very bad.
I'm so disappointed in that part. So
It's pretty
I
bad.
set that aside. But breaking
think
should
all of
not
it was-
come back.
I even watched some like 2 guys, and it still was pretty bad.
It seems like breaking should be more of a entertainment thing, like American
Yeah.
Idol or the Voice, those
Yeah.
kind of shows. It's not really an Olympic event where you compete like running or shooting or shot putting. You dance.
Well, figure
Yeah.
skating is a thing in the Olympics, so no one questions that. So are they maybe in the
Yeah.
same vein?
Could be, maybe.
'Cause that's very performative. It's it's a dance on ice.
And
Yeah.
yet you could do a triple Lutz, and I mean, that takes a tremendous
those
amount
are
of skill.
Incredible athletes.
But there was one move the Australian woman did that's like laying on the ground on your side and then just like sliding your arms down and touching your feet as they slide up. They call it the alligator. Like, whoop. Like, I was like, Trey, your son could do
Yeah,
that.
he really probably could have.
Maybe even a little bit better. And I know that sounds so mean. And I was thinking through like, how will I say this without sounding mean? But I'm not the one that went out there in front of the whole world.
Right. You invite criticism or review at least by going out.
But yeah, it's not coming back. And then I guess everybody was underwhelmed by Tom Cruise rappelling down into the
Yeah.
stadium. I guess that was the talk. Is everyone's disappointed? It was like that was it. He just like went down on a rope.
Well, he does all his own stunts. So.
It's hard when you've done, I don't
Yeah,
know, a
the cool
dozen
stuff.
movies between Jack Reacher series and Mission Impossible series and some of the others, where you do these things in filmed perfection, and then to try to do something live that is halfway as good, it's just not going to stand up.
In front of the literal best athletes on the planet.
Yeah.
Because there were, I mean, we can't focus just on breaking. There were some just incredible athletes. It's always, I don't know why it is for me, but track and field's one of my favorites. Some of these folks, it's very specialized skills, but seeing people, like, again, going back to it, Sha'Carri Richardson, racing against some of the fastest people in the world, and it's like she didn't even try. She's just like, I think I'm going to try now. And she's just like, go so fast.
I did see a meme of, I think it must have been speed walking, where
Oh, that
a
one,
girl
don't.
came by and passed up. And the one who was in the lead thought she was, yeah, look at me. I got 10 more yards. I'm celebrating. And all of a sudden, the second place person passed her
Yeah.
by.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
The look on her face.
It happens all the time. Don't celebrate too early.
Yeah.
I guess I don't know if you guys realize this, but while there was no room for breaking in the 2028 program in Los Angeles, there were 5 sports that were not featured in Paris. That cricket,
Okay.
Okay.
which is a hugely popular sport in the world.
Mhm.
Flag football.
I don't like that.
Like, what are we doing that for?
Yeah.
That's like a recess game.
Yeah.
Should we play dodgeball too at the Olympics?
Yeah, that'd be fun.
I would actually kind of enjoy that.
That would
But
be fun.
baseball and softball were not there.
Hmm.
You got the feels about that? You played softball.
Yeah, no, I don't
That's-
have any feelings about that.
I mean, it's a sport. It's legit.
I feel like if we're going to do
Yes.
basketball, we need to include those two.
Lacrosse.
Okay.
Lacrosse is a very big sport these days.
It is.
Yeah.
I'd never heard of it when I was a kid. They didn't have that in Minnesota. I was like, what?
Right.
Isn't that a town in Wisconsin?
Yeah, exactly.
And then squash
No.
was not included. I don't even know what squash is.
Isn't that like racquetball?
I know
think
it's a
so.
sport, and that's about all I know.
Handball is still a.
Yes.
I don't know
It's
what
very
that
big
is.
in Europe.
Is it?
Mhm.
Pretty soon they're going to have that new one everybody's playing.
Pickleball?
Pickleball. Pickleball. Could have some retired folks play pickleball for the Olympics or something. Are we sad it's done?
Not me.
Not really.
I didn't watch any of it.
What?
I don't care for the Summer Olympics. I love the Winter Olympics.
Oh, yeah.
Interesting.
Hmm.
What do you like about the Winter Olympics?
I always I have fond memories of watching figure skating with my mom, and I
Yeah.
love the skiing events. I like snow.
I love speed skating.
Oh, yeah, put
Swish
those
around.
crazy
Oh, yeah.
outfits
Yeah.
on.
Oh,
and
yeah.
One arm behind your back and
Yes.
the other
Yes,
swishing.
so fun.
Yeah, there are pretty neat sports. I get all wound up about curling. I have to like calm down about that because there are other cool sports in the Winter Olympics. And everybody loves cool runnings. I mean, Jamaican bobsled team. Come on. Greatest Olympic story of all time. Yeah, well, it's over. There it is. Mm-hmm. And if you have the Peacock app, you can relive the whole thing if you wanted. And if you didn't see breaking, it's worth looking at just to go, what just happened? And please let that never happen again.
Yeah.
I read an article that they were hoping that it would increase their funding to have that on the world stage so they could, get more awareness. No, I think it actually hurt your sport. Like, it's not.
Yeah, I tried it for about 5 minutes and then I had to stop.
You tried it?
No, I tried watching it.
Okay, I thought.
No.
Hang on, we need to pause here.
I tried watching it.
To be honest, I mean, you and Daria both are people that stay physically fit. You do your workouts. I bet, give yourself a couple months, you could have competed at the Olympics with breaking.
Very uncoordinated, and
you haven't seen it.
I'm very uncoordinated.
You put
could
on
do the alligator.
a swishy suit and you spin around on the ground. As long as it's a swishy suit, so you spin really fast.
Yeah.
At least the scoring was appropriate. Like the Australian athlete got 0 points.
Yeah.
You're kidding. Oh, that's bad.
Yeah, she got 0.
That is so bad.
I mean, even the judges were like, nope, no. I mean, I could get 0 points in the Olympics. Breaking.
Maybe she just knew she wasn't going to win, so she's like, I'm just going to have fun.
Why go? Like, not every country is in every sport.
Because you have to raise your own money to get there.
That's true.
It's a lot of money to go when
it's
you're just not very good.
And again, there's lots of countries in the world, and not every country submits athletes for every sport. Like, there are countries who go Winter Olympics. No, we are like 120 degrees here all year round. I don't think we're going to do that.
Right.
Okay, well, 6:19 coming up here in just a minute. Just for funsies, we got some animal news.
Mental health needs are skyrocketing. Therapists and psychiatrists can't meet all the demands. Sadly, people in a mental health crisis often find themselves in a spiritual crisis as well. Pastors and ministry leaders want to help, but often don't know how. The Mental Health and the Church Conference, September 26 and 27, 2024, at Bay Presbyterian Church in Cleveland, Ohio, will give ministry leaders tools and resources to support the mental health needs of their congregations and communities. Learn more or register at keyministry.org.
Moody Radio is on the air thanks to supportive listeners and Hawkins Sales. They've been serving the electrical industry nationwide for over 30 years. More information about Hawkins Sales is at hawkinssales.com.
Her name is Jenny, and maybe like you, she and her husband got tired of their health care getting more and more expensive, so they did it. They went with MediShare.
We signed on with MediShare in March, had a really great experience. It was super easy to get going with them. And then in October of that same year, we found out that I had stage 3 breast cancer.
We were put at ease with MediShare, guiding us and walking with us and saying that they're going to be praying for us.
It's very intentional how they try to bless people when they know this is one of the hardest things that they're going through.
They and their 4 kids thank the Lord, not only for her healing and how he provided for them, but she says it makes her emotional just realizing how she gets to pay it forward.
What we put towards MediShare is going to be blessing another mom, and they're going to show up for her the way that they showed up for me.
You save a lot, and you're part of something really, really good. Call now. It's 877-58-BIBLE. That's 877-58-BIBLE. 877-58-BIBLE.
Are you looking for candid conversation from a biblical perspective? You found it. It's Mornings with Brian on Moody Radio.
Mornings with Brian. Moody Radio Cleveland. 103.3 at 6 to 9 a.m.
625 WCRF, Mornings with Brian. Don't forget to listen at 8 a.m. every day because, I don't know, the show's great. It's usually pretty good around 8 o'clock. But also, we're going to be giving away tickets. Renew tickets?
Renew tickets every day this week at 8 a.m.
Whoa, you're generous.
It's not me, but.
Take the credit. It's all right.
Okay.
8 a.m. Listen to 8 a.m. this week. And you might get a chance to win some registrations to the Renew Women's Conference, which is just around the corner, September 7th, Canton Baptist Temple, featuring Dr. Julie Slattery, Glenna Marshall, Taylor James, a panel discussion, and everyone's favorite duo, That Girl.
Yeah.
From the
we
show.
We will be there.
Also, Joe and Cindi Ferrini are going to be joining us here in just about 10 or 15 minutes here, and they want to talk about some reasons you might want to consider getting counseling as a married couple. And there's a Wall Street Journal article I want to chat about later on this morning. And it has to do with that famous phrase, hell in a handbasket.
Oh, yeah.
I did some research on it because I just think it's kind of a funny phrase.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to try to figure out whether the world is really going to hell in a handbasket. You know, people are like, the world today, the world's just worse as it's ever been. Hell in a handbasket. Is it? Well, the Wall Street Journal has some answers. For now, though, I have some animal news just for funsies.
Okay.
Watch out, Santa Cruz, California. Otter 841 is back.
Oh, was he missing for a while?
Well, sort of. He's an infamous, aggressive otter.
Oh, goodness.
Uh-oh.
Oh.
They're so cute, though.
This one is infamous and aggressive, and he's back, and he could be wreaking havoc again on the beaches in Santa Cruz, California. He's known for causing trouble with surfers. He harasses surfers.
Well, it kind of leads to their worries.
I guess they have other dangerous
like
sharks.
very scary creatures, yeah.
That'd be like the best thing that could pop up out of the ocean while you're out there.
Yes.
Apparently, this animal stole the national spotlight last summer for being aggressive to local surfers and evading capture by wildlife crews. Nobody can catch Otter 841. He's back.
I wonder where he went. Who was he terrorizing while he was gone?
He was just probably taking a little vacation.
Yeah.
Taking a break from harassing surfers in America. So there you go. There's that one. Second story, there's a guy, Joey Henney. He's lost his emotional support animal, Wally, and it vanished while they was on vacation in April.
Oh.
This is scary. I mean, who wants to lose their emotional support animal? And they've got some suspects, but they just have not been able to find him. By the way, what kind of animal is Wally?
Yes, I'm curious.
It's a pig, isn't it?
I've seen a lot of cute pig videos online recently. Women snuggling with piglets in particular.
Well, piglets are cute, but not full pigs.
Yeah, piglets are very cute.
Yeah.
They make little cute sounds.
Yeah.
Although when you pick them up, they squeal.
And that's
so loud, it's startling. But no, not a pig.
Okay. Sheep.
Iguana.
Is this an exotic animal?
I mean, that's not that exotic, but it's not a typical
horse?
Emotional support alligator.
Alligator?
Alligator, I got it. I got it. Emotional support alligator. It's missing.
No.
That would cause me
Like
undue
Pastor
stress. Yeah, Pastor Tanks, you there?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, what about an alligator would make you calm down?
No, it would make me more anxious.
Like, usually you bring them when you're in anxious situations.
Right.
How do you lose an alligator?
I don't know.
That's a good question.
Massive.
I don't know. Especially in Brunswick, Georgia is where this happened.
Right.
Whew, glad it's Brunswick, Georgia, and not Brunswick, Ohio.
Right, but again, I don't get it. This shows the ridiculousness of where we can go with emotional support animals.
Yeah. I have a question about some animals. Are groundhogs and woodchucks the same thing?
I think they are.
I believe so.
Why do they have two different names?
Regional thing, I guess.
I don't know. And they come with an existential question.
Is it going to be summer or spring soon?
That and how much wood would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood?
Yeah. There's been one in my yard twice that I've seen.
You thought about snuggling it? Maybe.
No, they look kind of scary actually. They're very large.
Speaking of scary, our final story comes to us starting with a Florida man.
Of course.
Of course. He was a 52-year-old guy, and still is. And he told doctors he'd been suffering from persistent migraines. They just could not figure out the problem.
I don't like where this is
going.
going.
There was bugs in there, wasn't it?
So they finally gave him a CT scan where they found tapeworm eggs.
Nope.
festering in his brain.
I knew exactly where this was going. No.
Ooh.
And he got this, they suspect.
I don't like that.
You'd imagine, he went swimming in the Amazon River or something weird like that.
Right.
Nope. He has a particular habit of enjoying undercooked bacon.
Oh, no.
And they
Sir,
believe
not too floppy, guys.
Sir.
Not too floppy.
His preference for the floppy bacon caused him to get tapeworm eggs in his brain.
Cook your meat properly.
He's okay
my
now.
goodness.
He's fine now.
How'd they get rid of him?
You go in there and take him out.
Ugh.
A little bit of brain surgery. Hopefully didn't celebrate with some bacon afterwards.
Right.
Everyone knows crispy bacon is better.
How do you figure that out? How did they figure out it was his bacon?
I mean, they must have been like, what have you been doing, sir?
Yeah.
I mean, apart from jamming tapeworm eggs up your nose or something, I mean, where could this come from? And they must have just examined everything. They're like, that's it.
It's the bacon.
It's the undercooked bacon.
Cook your bacon, friends.
Yep. Mm-hmm. 6:32, coming up in just a minute, something totally unrelated. When might you need marriage counseling? I hope it's not tied to bacon, but maybe it will be.
I'm Jamie Buxton, and this is Pause for Prayer. Jesus shares his test to determine whether we're truly part of his kingdom in Matthew 25. However we treat the least of these, the hungry, thirsty, naked, homeless, sick, and imprisoned, is how we treat him. Did you know that Cleveland is the second poorest city in the United States? Did you know that over 23,000 individuals will experience homelessness this year in Cuyahoga County alone? Are you aware that the face of homelessness is women with children? And did you know that every shelter for women with children in the city is absolutely full? Let's pause for prayer. Gracious Heavenly Father, forgive me. Forgive me for my pride and my unwillingness to serve you. I pray that you would allow me to look further than my own needs and time constraints and serve you in whatever way you ask me. I pray, Jesus, that I will be able to say that I did serve, I did give, I did feed, I did clothe, I did visit, and I did encourage the least of these. Your word promises that when you did it to one of the least of my brothers and sisters, you were doing it for me. Father, I pray for your motivation to serve and to give. I pray for the men, women, and children currently staying at the city mission. I pray, Lord God, that you would meet each and every one of those individuals exactly where they're at so that they can have a real and true encounter with you today. I pray for the staff that meets each of them daily, that you would give them the motivation and encouragement that they need for their daily ministry. I pray for the volunteers that you will lead to the city mission. May they be filled as they pour out their love and care for others. Ultimately, Lord, we pray for the hearts and souls of those you entrust with us at the mission each day. May they choose your grace and forgiveness and desire a life dependent on you. In your precious name I pray, amen.
Ladies, are you looking for spiritual encouragement? Moody Radio invites you to rejuvenate your faith and draw close to Jesus at Renew, the one-day conference for women, coming to Canton, Ohio, September 7th. Your spirit will be uplifted and your mind engaged as our keynote speakers share insights from God's Word that will inspire you to pursue godliness in your home, work, church, and community. You'll also spend time in worship with hundreds of godly women who, just like you, desire a deeper intimacy with Christ. Sign up today at moodyconferences.com/renew.
They say family knows you best. Here's Brian's older brother with a message for you.
Does it seem like your son or daughter will just not stop talking? My little brother is proof that not all hope is lost.
It's Mornings with Brian on Moody Radio Cleveland.
Mornings with Brian. Moody Radio Cleveland. 103.3 at 6 to 9 a.m.
639 Moody Radio Cleveland. Don't forget, listen in right after Ron's 8 o'clock news. We're going to be giving away a pair of registrations to the Renew Women's Conference, which is coming up on September 7th at Canton Baptist Temple. Be sure to listen in. All right, with us now, Joe and Cindi Ferrini. They spoke nationally with Family Life's Weekend to Remember Getaway for over 20 years. Cindy's been doing Pause for Prayer since 1998. Welcome back, you two.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
All right, so today you're chatting with us a bit about what might be reasons to consider getting counseling in a marriage. Now, I would imagine you encountered a lot of couples throughout your time speaking at Family Life where you recommended this to them.
Well, absolutely. And to start off, I would like to say, too, that, sometimes people don't want to go to counseling because there's maybe some kind of a stigma in their mind that if I go to counseling, like everything's not going right, But sometimes I think counseling is just good to kind of iron out some weak spots in your marriage or in your life. And so, I think it's a good thing that you can do to work together.
Yeah, I think counseling is never a bad idea to get. But I would say this: if you're someone who just thinks that they just never need counseling, chances are real good that there are probably a lot of hurting people around you. And, and so I would really be encouraging folks to consider this, to do this.
Yeah, someone who completely rejects the idea of counseling. I would never need that. Probably needs it more than most.
Exactly.
Sure,
That's a great
exactly.
point. Okay, so what's the
Exactly.
first reason you think here?
Well, I think, we have a couple of them here. If we get through them, great. If not, we'll make a part two. But the first one we thought about was if you feel rejected by your spouse. And I would just say, that would be if you are not the priority to your spouse. Now, just because you feel rejected doesn't mean that you are. Sometimes people have a higher expectation of certain things. And without going into like a ton of examples, because someone's going to go through the crack and say, well, how about this one, But if your husband or your wife is rejecting you and you are not a priority, their work is a priority, their hobbies are a priority, their outside other activities are a priority, then that might be something that maybe you as the person who feels rejected, maybe you're the one who needs to go for counseling first to understand a little bit about yourself through this. And then also maybe a little bit later, you can go together so that you can sort of remedy this together also.
Yeah, I think that's really wise counsel. I mean, trying to make sure you diagnose why this is happening is really, really important. It could be that, your spouse is just really good at gaslighting. It's always going to be your problem, right? I mean, I didn't do this. You must be confused again. You need help and so on. And so I think you need to make sure you get to the heart of why this is even happening.
Great point. Yeah, to sort out your own thinking and feeling first before approaching the couple together. I think it's a great idea. What's the next one? The next reason to get counseling?
Yes. The next one is you don't feel safe around your spouse. Now, this one I think is truly a huge one, and I think you should be in counseling before you're even thinking this far, because safety is of the utmost importance. Anytime I was counseling, when I say counseling, I'm not a counselor, mentoring, okay, when we're mentoring or talking with other people, the first thing that I would ask them as they were, sort of unloading on things, and a lot of times, let me just say this, it's not funny, but it is funny, where people would say, could I just talk to you for 5 minutes? And I'm like, sure. I look at my watch, and I go, yeah, we've got 5-6 minutes before we have to get up and on the stage and start talking. And then they get into this litany of like 10 things wrong with their marriage. And all 10 things are like level 10. You know what I mean? Like, wow. You're like this. And I say, this is not a 5-minute discussion. I will meet you at this place at this time here in the hotel, and we will have a conversation, because you don't want to dismiss the urgency that they have, but you also have to understand that there's more underneath each one of those points. So if you don't feel safe around your spouse, it might be that there's physical abuse or emotional abuse, sometimes even spiritual abuse, where the spouse is really twisting scripture for their purposes, which is really dangerous. And so I would say when that happens, you need to get counseling. And the book that we really recommend is the Leslie Vernick book, and you've heard us mention this many times, The Emotionally Destructive Marriage. I have given that book and I have shared the title of that book with so many people, and she goes through and really talks to you about how to strengthen your own self in situations like this, but then also how to be prepared in a situation when you aren't safe. And one of the things I remember talking with somebody about, and they did not feel safe, was that I suggested that they have their car prepared, that if they had to take off, they could grab the keys and run. Now, if you're in that unsafe of a situation, I think it probably has gone too far, because already you don't want to be where there's going to be something very drastic happening. And so I think you need counseling, even if the spouse doesn't think they're the problem, and you probably can't even bring it up if it's that unsafe. Then I think that you need to go and get some counseling and understand the situation you're in, the importance of not being there if something escalates, how to get out, what to do, who to call. And Leslie has the whole back part of her book is all about that. And I have said to each person that I have talked with, if after you read this book, if you don't have a resolve for what you should do, here's my number, call me. And no one has ever called me. Her book is excellent.
Yeah, I've heard so many good things about a number of Leslie Vernick's books in these situations. It is 6:45. You're listening to Moody Radio. Mornings with Brian. Our guests are Joe and Cindi Ferrini with My Marriage Matters. Coming back here in just a moment, we'll continue looking at some reasons you might want to consider getting marriage counseling.
The following is not an actor, but a real-life story from Trinity Debt Management.
My debt problem started probably about 2016. I needed my life to change financially. I called Trinity and I ended up joining based on high credit card bills and high interest rate. And my counselor at Trinity has been great, and Trinity has been helping me to get on the right path of paying off these credit card bills, bringing down the interest rate. They have consolidated my bills into one low monthly payment. And now I am finally getting out of credit card debt. So I just want to say thank you, Trinity, for showing me a better and greater path.
If you're in debt and you need help, call Trinity at 1-800-659-9838.
My name is Sharon, and soon I will be debt-free for keeps.
1-800-659-9838.
You want your children to know the Bible and to know Jesus in a personal way. And we'd love to help with Today in the Word Family Studies. This month, we study the book of Job, helping you answer hard questions like, why does God allow bad things to happen? It's a great help to teach complex themes. Get your Today in the Word devotional and download the free Go Along Family Study at todayintheword.com. Spend time in God's Word.
Mornings with Brian. Moody Radio Cleveland. 103.3 at 6 to 9 a.m.
Mercy Me on WCRF. Don't forget, 8 o'clock is right around the time we're going to give away a pair of registrations to the Renew Women's Conference coming up September 7th at Canton Baptist Temple, so don't miss that. With us now, though, if you're just tuning in, has been Joe and Cindi Ferrini with My Marriage Matters. They're talking about some reasons you might want to consider getting counseling. We've talked about feeling rejected by your spouse, not feeling safe around your spouse. What's the next one?
Well, did you want to say anything else about that particular point, Joe?
No, there's just a lot of really good resources out there, but we still think Leslie's the top-notch person to go with.
Yes, Leslie Vernick, as they mentioned before. I've heard so many great things about her writing. So, yes, very good.
Yeah. Okay, so the third one would be you get emotionally drained by your spouse's issues and behaviors. So, sometimes you don't notice some of these things when you're dating because you have blinders on. But, Joe is one who says, you can always tell about a person by their habits and what they do repeatedly. If they've done something once, they're going to do something again, most likely. So I would say regarding this point, the question would be, are you having a situation where the past is unresolved of whatever your issue or behavior is? And if your issue isn't resolved, whether it's you or your spouse, go get counseling.
Yeah. What I was referring to, if you see consistent patterns in a relationship and it's just not getting better and you keep hoping that it's going to get better and it just doesn't get better, I mean, that's just no way to live, I mean, it can be pretty miserable having to walk around on eggshells all day long, fearing that something you say or do is going to be turned against you. I mean, that's just incredibly unhealthy.
Yes, and I'm thinking whatever this issue is, just like Joe said, it becomes a broken record. And I think, sometimes issues are such that they can be resolved between the two of you. Just maybe it's, an issue at work or an issue at church or an issue in your neighborhood or something like that. And you talk about it and you sort of come to an agreement. And we've had to do this too about one or two particular issues where we've said, you know what, we know that there isn't a resolve for this, not necessarily between us, but it could be, but other things like in our life, something at work or something in the neighborhood where you just say, okay, we just have to agree to not discuss this because there is no resolve for it. But if this happens, then this is how we're going to handle it. And so, we have to be really careful. We don't want to dismiss another person's issue and you want to get resolved, but sometimes there are issues that aren't within your possibility of resolving them. So, take that into consideration.
Actually, this flows right in nice to the next topic, and where it says that your spouse doesn't allow you to have your own opinion about things. And when I first heard that, I thought, man, just a reminder that marriage is not a 50-50 relationship. And I realized over the years that this 50-50 tendency just flows out of our selfish nature. And that ultimately is going to lead to isolation in that marriage as well. So I think really being transparent with each other and open with one another is key to good communications, good marriage.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I also think, there are some topics or things that you might want to share your opinions about. Now, let's just say that politically, each of you think of things differently. I think it should be able to be discussed, but if it's really a hot topic, then maybe that isn't to be discussed. You take your voice and go vote. But you also don't want to shut down that other person because what they have to say is valuable, and we should listen and we should take into consideration. And then also, things like with our married children, Joe and I may think differently. We might have different opinions on things that either our Christina or our Kathleen and their families should do, or things that whatever. And sometimes we just have to say, that's not our place to have our opinion. And so together as a married couple, we have to be careful what we're saying between us as well, because we could get upset about something somebody else isn't doing the way we think they should do it. And that really, that shouldn't interfere with our marriage. And so, so we need to have a say, but we also have to be really careful there.
I would imagine over time, the spouse that isn't really permitted to have an opinion just shuts down.
Yeah, I would say in many cases.
Yeah, that's what's going to happen. And again, that's what's going to lead to isolation. And that's not a way to build oneness in a marriage relationship, for
That's
sure.
right. That's right.
And you know, and we have to understand too, opinions aren't necessarily sin. You know, if my husband is sinning, then I need to have a voice and say something, maybe even recommend he have counseling or talk to my pastor or a close friend who would, you know, share something with my spouse that would maybe help, you know, him to get back on the right track. But we also have to understand that, you know, each situation is different. So walk gingerly, but then also make sure that you get help in it.
Yeah. Yeah. And this too leads into our next topic, which is, you know, your spouse tends to set boundaries, but they don't let you set any boundaries. And this is just a huge red flag in my mind. I mean, clearly there's evidence of a narcissist in the house at that point. And we need to reverse that tendency and correct that as soon as possible. I mean, for example, I mean, as a rule, I mean, narcissists, they hate to have boundaries set against them. And so, but they have no problem setting boundaries around you. And so I think you need to have, you know, your antennas up and realize that there's a problem here, that it's going to not go away unless you get some counseling.
Yeah, and I'd like to recommend a book, but I can't tell you who the author is because I let somebody borrow the book and they haven't returned it yet. But it's called Help, I'm Married to a Narcissist. And you know, when we used to travel, I would take some of these books with me and I'd have to always put a book cover on it because I'd think like, you know, somebody next to me, what if I know them and they're thinking, oh my goodness, that's Joe, you know? So some of these books maybe you wouldn't have out like to show everybody what you're reading, but they're very, very good books. And anyway, that's really a good one too.
Wonderful. What's the next reason somebody might want to consider counseling?
Yes, so the sixth one is disagreements become abusive, whether that's emotionally, verbally, physically, and sometimes even spiritually, as I mentioned earlier. So you have to understand disagreements, I mean, they could be because you have differing opinions, like we just covered in a minute ago, but also disagreements shouldn't cause a fight. And when I say a fight, I'm talking about the heated, nasty, loud kinds of conversations that you will have. I'm not necessarily, you know, hitting each other, but it could be that. And so we have to understand, so this kind of goes with the other one, that you can have your own opinions and you can even disagree on those, but you need to start listening well and really discerning the difference between that. And then really just considering how can you discuss it so that you aren't having a fight, a loud, heated discussion about it.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we need to allow freedom for differences that we have and adjust to promote healthy communications in order to really, I think it comes down to this, Brian, to honor each other. Mm-hmm. And I think that is really the hinge pin to a lot of our issues here, is that we're just not honoring each other.
Exactly. Yes. And we could also go on to the next one, which is you can be yourself. Because if you can't share your opinions and your thoughts and your concerns and all that sort of thing, you're not able to be yourself, and that's dangerous. I always shared the example of Kathleen when she was dating. If she said, if I can't sing and be silly and do a Celine Dion interpretation, and that guy isn't for me, you know. So,
I believe that about her. Yes.
You know, so you want to be able to be yourself. If you can't laugh and be silly, and that's your personality, or be serious and determined, and that's your personality, then that's going to be really very difficult. So consider that. And I might add too, you know, Family Life has some great materials. If you go to familylife.com, even if you're a pre-married, go there. They have some great pre-married materials. You'll have to search a little bit because of the titles, but look there and see what they have to offer. And if anybody would ever have any concerns or questions about materials that might be helpful for them, they can get in touch with us at cindyferrini.com, and I would be happy to look for materials for them. And then just in finishing up, number 8. Joe, you want to take number 8?
You know, the idea here is that your spouse doesn't honor your wishes and concerns, comforts, and protection. And, you know, being ignored is never a fun thing. And again, for me personally, the central motivating factor, I think, for this one, for good communication, just comes back down to what I mentioned earlier, just the idea that you desire to honor each other and respect each other's, you know, issues and concerns. And that's just being polite to one another.
Yes.
Being kind to one another.
Yes. And just to wrap this up, if you're in a marriage, and I feel that I am in a marriage with my husband who is very protective, he is caring, decisions are made with me. I don't always get my way, he doesn't always get his way, but we always, come to a place where even if we're having a disagreement, that we come to a place that we finally, are on level ground together. And if you're being ignored or dismissed, then you don't have a place in your marriage. And so I would say you need to find someone to counsel with you to find out how you can have that place in your marriage.
That's good.
Some great advice, you two. Again, Joe and Cindi Ferrini have been our guests. They spoke nationally with Family Life's Weekend to Remember Marriage Getaway for over 20 years. You can hear Cindi on Pause for Prayer. And again, they join us regularly for My Marriage Matters. If folks want more information and want to connect with you, you mentioned the website, Cindi. Where else can they go?
Yes, CindiFerrini.com or JoeFerrini.com. And while we took a little break for the Olympics on My Marriage Matters, we'll be back today with a thought. And so if you go to My Marriage Matters on Facebook, we have a daily thought for you, a meme or something that just kind of maybe triggers you to have conversation or something fun in your marriage. And it should be posted right now.
Wonderful. Will either of you be breaking at all in videos for us to watch? Or?
No. We did popcorn sitting in bed watching the Olympics.
We're waiting for the popcorn eating competition.
Yeah. We would easily score 10 if 1 through 10 is still the scoring, factor.
I believe it. God bless you two. Thanks for your time.
Thank you. You too.
God bless.
Take care.
It is 7:02. It's time for Ron's News and today's Moron Moment. When we come back, we have a little back to school chat to have. Plus, the Beacon Journal is covering a pretty unique issue that some suburban schools in Summit County are facing. How can we solve them? I don't know. We'll have to figure it out.
Mornings with Brian on Moody Radio Cleveland, WCRF Cleveland, WVMS Sandusky, WVML Millersburg, WVMN Newcastle, WVME Meadville, WVMU Ashtabula, and everywhere with the Moody Radio app or at moodyradio.org/Cleveland.
Citing escalating regional tensions, the Pentagon says the U.S. is strengthening forces in the Middle East. It's 7:03. I'm Ron Eastwood, Moody Radio News. A Pentagon statement issued on Sunday says Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin is reiterating the Biden administration's commitment to take every possible step to defend Israel. The USS Abraham Lincoln Carrier Strike Group and the USS Georgia guided missile submarine are both headed to the region, although the statement doesn't specify when they'll arrive. Cuyahoga County's chief executive and council president are letting their feelings be known about the idea of the Browns possibly moving to Brook Park. Cuyahoga County Executive Chris Ronayne and Council President Pernell Jones Jr. released a letter to owners Jimmy and Dee Haslam saying they want the team to remain downtown and that any proposal that would create an unacceptable risk to the county's general fund cannot be considered. Finally, Ohio Department of Transportation Director Jack Marchbanks is stepping down from his position. Marchbanks, who entered the role in 2019, was known for having a vision for increasing safety on Ohio's roads and for making sure that transportation systems worked efficiently around the state. I'll have sports and weather in just a moment.
Mental health needs are skyrocketing. Therapists and psychiatrists can't meet all the demands. Sadly, people in a mental health crisis often find themselves in a spiritual crisis as well. Pastors and ministry leaders want to help, but often don't know how. The Mental Health and the Church Conference, September 26 and 27, 2024, at Bay Presbyterian Church in Cleveland, Ohio, will give ministry leaders tools and resources to support the mental health needs of their congregations and communities. Learn more or register at keyministry.org.
In sports, the Guardians down the Twins 5-3. The Pirates got walked off by the Dodgers 6-5 in 10 innings. And in case you missed it, the Browns got crushed by the Packers 23-10 in their preseason opener, while the Steelers fell to the Texans 20-12. Here's your Moody Radio Cleveland forecast. Mostly sunny this morning, then clouds will roll in later in the day. Our highs are going to be in the upper 70s. At last check, clear skies, 58 degrees in Cleveland, 56 Akron and Canton, 55 in Lorain, Elyria.
It's time for your moron moment.
Celebrate the age-old art of hunting for a good deal with National Bargain Hunting Week, observed annually the second week of August. We love the hunt and the final deals, whether we're searching at a yard sale, Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist, or browsing the clearance rack at your local department store. To paraphrase the Hunger Games, may the deals be ever in your favor. And that's your Moron Moment. And you'll find that on our Facebook and Instagram. It's 7:06. With Moody Radio News, I'm Ron Eastwood.
Broadcasting live from the Bob Divine Studio. It's Mornings with Brian. Want to join the conversation? Call or text now at 440-546-2255. It's Mornings with Brian on Moody Radio.
Mornings with Brian. Moody Radio Cleveland. 103.3 at 6 to 9 a.m.
7:11 here on WCRF. Good morning. We got to talk a little back to school here in a minute, but first, it's my understanding, Lauren, your son Trey, who's 4,
Yes.
is saying silly things again.
Always is. Usually is.
He walks around the house like doing some jingles from Moody Radio.
Yeah, he sings jingles from the show. Will change words or words he doesn't understand. He just like put something in there. He talks about all 3 of you quite often. Exactly.
Yeah, and he keeps noticing that guy who looks just like me who lives near you. It was a topic of conversation at Summit Christian School recently. We were at a board meeting, and I actually showed the photo you snuck of my doppelganger.
You showed it to Ted?
Oh, Ted knows who he is.
Yeah.
I didn't have to show him Ted the picture.
He's like, yeah, that guy.
Ted Schur, my friend and the former board chair, knows him. Like knows him.
We live in the same neighborhood, me and Ted.
Yeah, but I showed other people, and they were just flabbergasted.
It's very odd.
It's like I just changed glasses.
Yeah.
And Trey will be like, "Hey, look, it's Mr. Bryan."
Yes, exactly.
And he's not.
He's wondering why you're not coming to our house.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for you to meet this guy.
I'm not going to do that.
I'd like to talk to him, bring him in, see what
That's
he's
a lot.
doing.
We
We
don't
can
know
take some
anything about
photos
him.
together professionally, maybe. But anyway, what did Trey do this time?
Okay, so we went grocery shopping, and I got cans of sparkling flavored water.
Okay.
I'm putting them in the fridge. I'm putting them away. Trey's just like running around, whatever. And it's very normal for me. I try to do too many things at once. So I was holding all of the cans in my arms.
Yeah.
Trying to reach into the fridge and put them on like a lower shelf. And I dropped one, and it starts wildly spinning around the kitchen, spraying everywhere, just like everywhere.
So you had 12 cans of sparkling?
It was probably like 8. I didn't do all of them.
Lauren.
Yeah.
You are doing a lot.
I always try to do too much at once. I don't know why. And so Trey hears the sound of like spraying all around the kitchen, and he turns and he looks at me, doesn't say anything, and he goes, wah, wah, wah.
What did you do?
He does that sound all the time, but it was so good because it was the right time to do context. Yes.
That's great.
And I had to laugh because it was funny. He did it. It was right. He was right.
Good job, bud.
So I had to clean up the entire kitchen.
No.
Yeah.
No.
I also can't resist asking you. You mentioned something to me in passing.
Yes.
Eddie Cuevas, wonderful husband.
Yes.
Friend of the show. He says things to you that really no man should say to his wife. And he gets away with it. Ron and I have discussed this. And you've got a new one for us.
Yes. Also in similar vein, I was trying to do too much. So we have 2 stories and then a basement. And all of our rooms are upstairs. Our laundry is upstairs. I was carrying a baby who's large now and like wants to do things. So he's not very still. And was trying to carry a laundry basket down the stairs.
Lauren. Jewel Cuevas.
I do this all the time. And so I get down the first set from upstairs to like our main floor. And I'm rounding the corner to go to the basement. And Eddie's in the kitchen. He goes, "Are you kidding me? What are you doing? Just stop. Stop." And I was like, "What?" And he goes, "All you have to do is ask for help. You just have to say, 'Hey, can you hold the baby?' Or 'Hey, can you take this downstairs?' I don't know what you're doing. Just stop." And then he just aggressively picks it up and walks it down the stairs.
That a guy. That's a good move. I like
a good
that.
man.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's right, though.
Why don't you
What
ask
are
for
you
help?
doing?
I'm just trying to get stuff done.
I get it.
You don't
And
like
he was
asking
like
for
doing
help
something
either.
else. He was, cleaning the dishes or something. It wasn't like he was just sitting there, but
And you don't like asking for help.
yeah, I could have
And
done
that's
it.
okay.
I would have hurt myself or broken the laundry basket.
Or
but
your child. You
No, he
could
was
have hurt
fine.
your
That
child.
one was secure.
You would have sacrificed yourself for the child and flew down the stairs holding
Yeah,
them up or something.
or like flung all the laundry down the stairs and then it'd be a mess.
He'd have a soft landing.
Yeah. He'd like, tumble down on the clothes.
Well, I think, I could ask you, what have we learned, Lauren?
Just stop doing the most. Just try to stop doing stuff.
Ask for help.
Ask for help and stop
Take
doing
multiple
everything.
trips.
Yeah. Into the fridge and down the stairs.
Wah, wah, wah.
I think that's a common trait for a lot of moms with kids.
Just trying to do everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like carry all the groceries in from the car.
I'm not trying to go
at
back
once.
out to the car. Then I got to get everybody outside again and then back inside again. It's too much.
Yeah, I don't like taking multiple trips.
So you get like the engraven marks on your arms from the bags?
Yeah, the best is
Yeah.
when you get the plastic bag. Sorry, environment, but I get plastic and you just line up your
Yeah.
arm with
That's right.
with straps from bags.
They actually have grocery bag holders, so like you just hold the handle and you like put your grocery bags on
Oh,
this.
wow.
They also have like foldable carts, so you can put that in there, load all your groceries in there, and take it to the house in one trip.
Should do that.
Eh, but it's the steps, the door.
It depends on how your house is set up.
Yeah, well.
I do have another set of stairs to get in, so I'd still have to do multiple trips. Unless I bring the cart and I just, yank it up the stairs.
You're already doing a basket. What's a cart?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, 7:16 coming up here in just a minute. We got some back to school stories for you. Plus, Akron Beacon Journal's covering an issue in Summit County that will have to be addressed at some point. In someone's hometown now.
Yes, I
is
saw.
mentioned quite a bit, Cuyahoga Falls.
Yeah.
We'll get to that here in just a minute.
Her name is Jenny, and maybe like you, she and her husband got tired of their health care getting more and more expensive, so they did it. They went with MediShare.
We signed on with MediShare in March, had a really great experience. It was super easy to get going with them. And then in October of that same year, we found out that I had stage 3 breast cancer.
We were put at ease with MediShare, guiding us and walking with us and saying that they're going to be praying for us.
It's very intentional how they try to bless people when they know this is one of the hardest things that they're going through.
They and their 4 kids thank the Lord, not only for her healing and how he provided for them, but she says it makes her emotional just realizing how she gets to pay it forward.
What we put towards MediShare is going to be blessing another mom, and they're going to show up for her the way that they showed up for me.
You save a lot, and you're part of something really, really good. Call now. It's 877-58-BIBLE. That's 877-58-BIBLE. 877-58.
Mornings with Brian. Moody Radio Cleveland. 103.3 at 6 to 9 a.m.
722 WCRF. My kids run to the mailbox, my younger ones at least, much more frequently because it's back to school. My number 4, Matthias, he got his schedule for middle school, first year of middle school.
That's exciting.
Oh, yes. Able to talk about the teachers and all that stuff. And it's hard to believe, but it's just a few weeks away. Getting back into school. I can't wait. I can finally have an undisturbed nap in the afternoon. There's other reasons too, like their education and stuff, but it's all about me right now.
Yep.
Any back to school memories from you all? Like this time of year? Exciting, boring?
I remember the beginning of my 6th grade year. We had moved across town from a farmhouse that we rented to a place that my dad had built. So it was a different school district, and the excitement, of being in a new house and everything was one thing, but then a new school, it's the same district, but a different school within the district. So having to meet new friends, and 6th grade in that school was playing around with some ideas, and they did the shifting classes like you do in junior high or middle school now. And so that was new to me, and so it was...
Was that exciting or scary?
Probably more exciting, a little bit scary, just unnerving from the fact that I didn't know this building, I didn't know the teachers or the kids. And so, making new friends was one thing. And
sure.
All of that. But it went pretty smooth, and I fit right in.
Yeah, when we first moved here, it was my kids' first experience in public school. They'd been homeschooled and virtual schooled before that. My oldest daughter, Grace, was in 5th grade, and fifth grade, and she was convinced that it was going to be just like on the Disney Channel. And that she'd be
new girl.
The mysterious new girl that all the boys would just be captivated by. That was just like she was convinced. It was super cute.
Was she
and probably disappointing.
Yeah, she realized pretty quickly it wasn't actually like that. They watched a lot of High School Musical. So, ladies, any memories from back to school? Shopping or nothing?
I don't know.
Of course.
I just remember my brother and I went to the same school a couple years in elementary school, and I don't know what this kid was saying about me, but somehow I ended up being like a celebrity. I was in the 4th grade. I was like a celebrity in the 1st grade class, which was his class. And so I just remember, I think the school year had fairly recently started, and I'm walking in the hallway with my class, and we just happened to pass his class in the hallway, and all the 1st graders start whispering like, "Oh my gosh, that's Brody's sister. It's Brody's sister. Hi, Brody's sister."
Oh, yeah. You're the mysterious older sister. Whoa. That's super cute. Lauren?
I always liked finding out who my teacher was going to be.
Yeah.
And then if any of my friends were in my class.
Mm-hmm.
That's always super fun.
It was really sad when you didn't get your friends in your class. You're like, well, they're all in one class without me now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was always a strange experience. I remember vividly going school shopping with my mom.
Oh, yeah.
We'd
The best.
get clothes once a year. The best? I hated it.
I loved it.
She picked everything out. I just stood there annoyed. Yeah. So back to school is upon us, and there was an interesting piece in the Akron Beacon Journal I thought was worth looking at, because several Summit County suburban districts are facing a dilemma, and here's how they paint the picture. Silver Lake Elementary School, nestled in the heart of Silver Lake, is the 2nd oldest suburban school building still being used in Summit County. The elementary school, which opened in 1927,
oh boy,
and is part of the Cuyahoga Falls City School District, was built in the Jazz Age when Calvin Coolidge was president.
Nice.
It's a museum. Extra education.
Yeah, and then the next oldest building or whatever is also in Cuyahoga Falls. I guess they're doing some building. But at the end of the day, of the 74 public school buildings in use in Summit County outside of Akron Public Schools, more than half were constructed between 1950 and 1969. Now you might be thinking, my house is older than that. Yeah. But the way we live in our homes hasn't changed all that much. But the way education is done has changed pretty dramatically. And so what they're facing is, are they going to have to either do dramatic remodels or total rebuilds of a whole bunch of public schools in Summit County?
Yeah, Cuyahoga Falls is building a whole new high school right now.
Which is a challenge
Big
in
project.
some districts, because there's some districts where voters every time say no.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And so now you have, as a result, you have schools that are falling apart, aren't equipped with right technological advances required to do what needs to be done to teach kids properly. So what do you do? And I mean, even now, as I'm on the board at Summit Christian School, you want to just replace the roof on a building?
Oh.
Guys, easy 6 figures.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And so what are we going to do in an era when taxpayers, nobody wants to pay more taxes.
Right.
And we got school buildings that legitimately, if it was built in the 50s, it's probably out of date, let alone 1927.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just thinking about fire codes that maybe can't be kept up to date, which is, an incident waiting to happen when you have that many children in a space.
Oh, absolutely. And on top of access for people with disabilities, and the minute you start doing major remodels, you have to, you lose the fact that you're grandfathered into the Americans with Disabilities Act.
Right.
So tons of new upgrades come in. Pretty soon, it's cost-benefit analysis of building a new building or not. And again, all that can only happen if voters approve referendums, increase property taxes, which they don't like to.
Right. Especially in this age of inflation, you want to save every penny you can.
Yeah, we can't blame them.
There's a lot of people, too, who, unfortunately, my kids are through schooling, so why should I pay to educate your kids? It's kind of a narrow thinking, but I've heard that said.
It's not a very Christian way to think, is it?
No. And not very, I don't know if patriotic's the right word, but you want your country to continue to do well in the future. And the only way that's going to happen is if we continue to educate our youth. And if the kids are worried about the drip coming through the ceiling and they got to scoot their chair over to miss getting hit by the drip, they're not paying attention to the lecture.
Yeah, and yet, of course, folks talk about the cost of public education, and it's maybe too expensive. There's this and that's an issue. I mean, I don't know how to solve it, but it's a thing. I mean, can you imagine? And you hit 2030 and you got a building from the 1950s. How could that possibly meet the standards that you would need to educate a kid in this day and age?
Yeah. If it's air conditioned, it had to be retrofit to it.
Yeah.
It wasn't built with air conditioning back then.
And just go talk to somebody who does HVAC and ask them what that would cost. Not to mention even plumbing updating that needs to happen. A lot of school buildings were built with concrete block. And so updating plumbing, it's not an easy endeavor where you just kind of, let's just take up the floor. No, that's a jackhammer throughout the entire building just to fix plumbing issues. Yeah, I don't know how we're going to solve these issues, but it's certainly something that voters are going to have to face, and your community will. But you said they're building a new high school in Cuyahoga Falls. So there you go. And a lot of school districts, by the way, because of cost measures, here's another big change. They're going from neighborhood elementary schools to giant single building things. This has just happened in Brecksville, Broadview Heights, where our station is.
That's what the high school is doing at Cuyahoga Falls. It's just one big giant one. I think it's a big giant high school and middle school. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I mean, when we first moved to Broadview Heights, we moved to Ohio, lots of cute little neighborhood elementary schools that had this real special kind of feel to them.
Right.
That's too expensive now. So, you get like hundreds of little kids jammed into one giant building, which is better. I don't know. I mean, we don't want to pay for the small ones anymore, so.
That also feels like a danger because if there's a fire or something, it's way harder to get all those kids out and keep track of them, especially when we're talking little kids that are by nature difficult to corral.
And longer busing.
Not to mention the fact that just having schools, the whole funding structure based on property tax is just so weird. And
how would you do it?
I don't have a solution. I'm just the complainer.
Yeah.
But it's inherently inequitable. Right? I mean, when it's based on property value and you've got places with terribly low property value and places with super high, clearly the funding is going to be unequal.
Yeah.
In a country that values itself on we the people, and the equality of all people.
And when they passed the lottery, the whole thing was, schools are going to benefit so much from all this money we make on the lottery. I don't see the schools benefiting. Maybe I'm missing it, but I think it's getting siphoned off to pork barrel projects.
Who knows? Certainly a problem that our society will have to face and Christians can't avoid. 7:32, we got to get to a quick break here. When we come back, our friend Dan Colantone will join us from the Northeast Ohio Leadership Foundation.
I'm Barb Carine, and this is Pause for Prayer. I recently heard a pastor say, I often hear people tell me that they just don't have enough time for God. What they're really telling me is God isn't first place in their lives because people always make time for what matters most. We always have enough time for what we prioritize in our lives. Lack of discipleship isn't caused by a lack of time. Lack of discipleship is caused by a failure to prioritize our time. Ouch. Would you pray with me? Heavenly Father, thank you for these wise words. This statement is something we would rather not think about, as most of us, if we're honest, struggle with prioritizing you as first in our lives. God, forgive us. It's so easy to let our lives fill up with stuff we need and want to do. And in reality, if we don't make a purposeful effort to take time to pray, read the Bible, and seek you, we probably won't. Lord, like any relationship, we need to commit to time with you. We don't want to be the people that only reach out to you when we need something. Thank you for your love and grace for us. Thank you for listening and caring, even when we so easily get distracted and run out of time for you. God, today we commit to pray, to seek you, to read your word, to take time to listen and recognize how you are leading us, to pray for those you put on our hearts and obey as you lead us to forgive, to serve, to help, to love, to give. And thank you, God, for giving us your Spirit to teach us, to strengthen us, to give us the power to do your will. Jesus, you are the vine and we are the branches. We can do nothing without you. So today, we renew our commitment to make you first in our lives, for first is where you belong. In your name we pray. Amen.
19. That's how many pairs of shoes the average American has in their closet. 1. That's how many pairs of shoes it takes to share health, education, opportunity, and the love of Christ to a child in need in the world. Buckner Shoes for Orphan Souls has been meeting this need, providing more than 5 million pairs of shoes to children in some of the most vulnerable communities in the world. That's over 5 million opportunities to put a smile on the face of a child and show the love of Christ to boys and girls living in desperate situations. Many times these shoes introduce families to Christ-centered programs, helping them to rise above poverty and achieve their God-given potential. You can make a difference now. Join Buckner Shoes for Orphan Souls in changing the lives of children across the world through the gift of shoes. I'm Rob West, inviting you to provide shoes today by visiting giveshoestoday.org. That's giveshoestoday.org.
Mornings with Brian. Moody Radio Cleveland. 103.3 at 6 to 9 a.m.
It's 7:38. Don't forget, here in about 20 minutes after Ron's 8 o'clock news, we're going to give away a pair of registrations to the upcoming Renew Women's Conference. That's going to be on Saturday, September 7th at Canton Baptist Temple, featuring Dr. Julie Slattery, Taylor James, Glenna Marshall, everyone's favorite duo from the morning show, That Girl, Lauren and Daria, together. I'll be there waving.
It's the best.
Yeah, they're not the same.
We're not. We're two different people.
And you'll know for sure by the end of Renew that it's two different people, Lauren and Daria.
We'll be in two places at once sometimes.
Whoa! Watch out.
Whoa.
So again, listen in right after the 8 o'clock news and we'll get those tickets given away. But for now, in studio with us, a friend of the show. He is president of the Northeast Ohio Leadership Foundation. Welcome back, Dan Colantone.
Yeah, thank you, Brian, so much, and Lauren and the whole team here. You guys are amazing. I just love listening to you. I'm on my way in this morning and listening about that 4-year-old, and oh my gosh. Yeah,
kids are so funny.
That is really something, man, just what they do at 4 or 5 year olds. Huh?
Yeah, I told Dan when you were out that at church yesterday, we were dropping him off, and the first thing he said, they're like, "Hi, Trey." And he said, "Look at my outfit."
Yeah. Hey. Yeah.
Really?
Or, hey. Yeah. Or, hey, I could do the ABCs. Oh, you want to hear it again?
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway.
Hey, Dad, you want to come watch me run or ride my bike? No, not really.
Not really.
But
Well, thank you guys for having us on a period of time. The Northeast Ohio Leadership Foundation really is a intermediary organization. I mean, we're there for the east side, west side, south side, downtown of greater Cleveland. And we want to bring our customers together to unify and work together for the inner city and to work in those disadvantaged communities where they really need the help and support, around spiritual transformation. Obviously we're representing Christ and Jesus and all that, but it really is about connecting us to work together to help support those that are supporting others.
yeah, I remember reading one of Malcolm Gladwell's books. I'm a big fan of his writing and such, but one of the character qualities he talked about in successful people is they're connectors.
Yes.
Like there's always somebody that knows everybody. Like if you need a referral to something, you call Ron because he knows everybody.
Right.
And you want the Northeast Ohio Leadership Foundation to be a connector in the community.
Yeah, I got to tell you, there's not a day goes by that if I have a conversation with somebody who's very busy. I'm sure you're not busy with 5 kids, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm so busy it upsets me sometimes, actually.
Well, I mean, or Lauren, I mean, she's raising 2 young children and others, and then you've got your work and you've got your, priorities. But building relationships and connecting and getting to meet others is so critically important for all kinds of reasons.
Yeah. So what are those reasons? Why is it so important to connect?
So I think let's talk about our 3 customers. I think that's really important. So the organization itself, so think about the church and the pastors. And they have a very busy schedule. They're trying to work with their congregation, but they want to see their people in their church be outside the walls. They want to serve. Well, maybe what is their time and talent and passions? What are they? And so we can help connect them. Or we can connect other churches who might have similar goals in mind or a vision about serving in the community. So we can help with that. If you're in the marketplace, whether you're in government, whether you're in business, whether you're in education, you want to serve in the community, especially the next gen. They're maybe in a position where their kids are a little bit older and they want to serve in the community and they have passions, but they don't even know sometimes just in their own backyard where there's a chance for them to serve. And so we have a connector there. And then in the marketplace and ministries, we want to see the ministries go to scale. We want to see them grow and expand. And they need board leadership. Many times we think they need resources. Certainly they do need the financial resources, but so much is connected to time and talent to serve on their boards, on their committees, on their work. And so we try to help them do that.
Well, because I think it's easy to become isolated, right, in your own circle and not know about what's happening next door that could be helpful.
Well, people, probably, and I'll just use myself as an example. Sometimes you think all these silos. How come all these people that are in pregnancy services or they're in the jail ministries or sometimes they need to be in silos, okay, but sometimes they can work together and unified. A great example is we have that monthly gathering we talk about all the time, which is the Cleveland Connect. It's something simple We have a headquarters building right at the center of the region, right there in Independence. You know, it's easy. You come, and like Mines, we had in January, we had our topic was health and addiction. We got a problem with addiction across the state. We had 44 different organizations, churches, marketplace, people coming together and sharing about how they can work together to not solve it, but just support the system.
Yeah, and those kind of connections are key to making a difference in our community, for sure. Yes. It is just about 7:45, time for a quick break. Here in studio with us, Dan Colantone. He's president of the Northeast Ohio Leadership Foundation. We'll continue chatting here in just a minute.
Ladies, are you looking for spiritual encouragement? Moody Radio invites you to rejuvenate your faith and draw close to Jesus at Renew, the one-day conference for women, coming to Canton, Ohio, September 7th. Your spirit will be uplifted and your mind engaged as our keynote speakers share insights from God's Word that will inspire you to pursue godliness in your home, work, church, and community. You'll also spend time in worship with hundreds of godly women who, just like you, desire a deeper intimacy with Christ. Sign up today at moodyconferences.com/renew.
Moody Radio is thankful for The Forge, the latest movie from the Kendrick brothers about the lasting influence one person can have on another through discipleship. But what does discipleship look like? When someone comes to Christ, it's only the beginning. A new believer is a spiritual infant who needs mature believers around them who will show them the way and help them grow in God's Word. The Forge, in theaters August 23rd. Rated PG, parental guidance suggested.
Pursue your passion for shepherding, teaching, and ministry leadership with a Master of Divinity from Moody Theological Seminary. New for fall of 2025. Earn the same world-class degree in a shorter amount of time. We've reduced credit hours to earn a degree while maintaining the quality and course content essential for effective ministry. Need flexibility? Take classes online or on our Chicago or Michigan campuses. Even interchange between all options on a class-by-class basis. Get started at moody.edu/MDiv.
Join the conversation by call or text at 440-546-22.
Mornings with Brian. Moody Radio Cleveland. 103.3 at 6 to 9 a.m.
Mornings with Brian on Moody Radio Cleveland, WCRF. It is 7:49. Don't forget, after Ron's 8 o'clock news, we're going to give away a pair of registrations to the Renew Women's Conference. It's coming up Saturday, September 7th at Canton Baptist Temple. Keynote speaker, Dr. Julie Slattery.
Mm-hmm.
In studio with us, if you're just tuning in, has been Dan Colantone. He's president of the Northeast Ohio Leadership Foundation. And we're talking about how they're connectors in the community that to help do greater good.
Yes.
In our community, and you wanted to chat a little bit about your headquarters, what's been happening there because of Connection.
Yeah, a couple years ago, we connected with a business owner who owns an office building there in Independence, right across from the city. And there's 4 organizations in the building, in the front part of the building, and it's Cumberland Development. He's getting ready to invest, the owner, into the building further to add a coffee shop and a workout facility and add more opportunities to attract small businesses. But in the front of the building, we have a large conference room. We have 2 small conference rooms. We have 4 organizations there. So you got Northeast Ohio Leadership Foundation. You got CBMC. You probably know you guys participate in the prayer breakfast, the prayer luncheon.
Yes,
the
that
guys'
whole
ministry.
thing is brought together by CBMC.
They have a women's component of that. You have the Mission Increase. Mission Increase is amazing. They serve to support over 400 ministries to help them do fundraising strategy, free seminars and workshops. And then we have In His Steps, which is donor advisory funds that help support ministries and other faith-based causes. And so here you've got this co-location space as almost a resource center to convene and connect and to really just build relationships. And frankly, that's the message we want folks to hear, those who are listening today. Get outside the walls of the church. Get outside your marketplace, in your ministries, and spend the time, quality time, to get to connect to someone else who ultimately, you'd be surprised how many little side conversations turn into people working together.
Yeah, and again, it reminds me of a situation, I believe it's in Houston, Texas, where they've been one of the only cities in America to reduce their homelessness population, because what they're doing is connecting nonprofits.
Yeah.
And they have individuals who can be those connectors like you're talking about.
Yes.
Now, let's just say somebody's in leadership in a secular corporation.
Yes.
Why would a secular corporation, maybe has Christian leaders in it,
Yes.
want to connect with the Northeast Ohio Leadership
I'm so
Foundation?
glad you asked the question, Brian. Thank you so much, because that's the key to the organization. We're really about serving and supporting and coming alongside what they might be doing in the community. So you might have secular or goodwill organizations that are serving in addiction. There's state agencies and organizations that are built around about addiction, and we can then mobilize the faith community to come alongside and to help serve and have collective, I know this is an overused word, right? Collective impact, really, but just collaborating and working together. So we're really more about, while we love Jesus, serve others, we're more about what they're trying to do and working with them and bringing more resources of volunteer time and talent to the table to have further impact and success.
And you were mentioning before, even like an individual who wants to get plugged in could be somebody
Yes.
who could benefit from Connection.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. The last couple shows we did with you, we had a couple of ladies call, and we were able to get them connected to what their passion was. And in one case, a few months ago, it was literally a couple miles from their own church. It was tied to single moms. Single moms who need to support each other. And here's 2 churches that were within a few miles of each other and didn't know that they both had those initiatives, and now they're working together.
And that's, I think, an important point for churches to consider, is that it's so easy to become isolated.
Yes.
And even have a church across the street that you don't really know super well. And those kind of connections can really do greater good in our community.
Well, and those getting outside the walls of the church, what else happens? You meet other people in the community, and guess what? Oh, well, you don't have a church? Oh, why don't you come and be with us on Sunday? Or let's get a cup of coffee. Oh, guess what? We could maybe meet. Oh, we've got a little place, a small little nonprofit, and we need to do a plan for the next year. We don't have a space. Oh, guess what? Hey, NEOLF has got a space, free space. Come, bring your board. We can host you for coffee, and then you can do some planning for the year.
Now, if somebody is hearing this and thinking, boy, this is something I want to explore further for my church, my organization, my nonprofit, myself, how can they learn more about the Northeast Ohio Leadership Foundation?
Well, this is one of my God-given talents, and just thankful. So I'm going to give you my phone number, 330-606-7786. If you have an interest in being involved or just connected, please text me. Even give me a call. I want to help connect those who are listening, whether you're in a church or whether you're in a marketplace position or a ministry. If you've got a need, we could hopefully maybe connect and help you solve that if we can.
And what's the website?
The website is www.neolf.org.
Wonderful.
neolf.org.
Again, Dan Colantone has been our guest. He is president of the Northeast Ohio Leadership Foundation. Go check him out. Perhaps it'll help do greater good in your community to have him with you. Stick with us. It's 7:54. In just a couple of minutes, we're giving away that pair of registrations to the Renew Women's Conference.
Mornings with Brian. Moody Radio Cleveland. 103.3 at 6 to 9 a.m.
Just about 8 o'clock now on Moody Radio Cleveland. We got Ron's news up next. We've got also his moron moment. And we're not too far away from talking about a Wall Street Journal coverage of a piece of research called Hell in a Handbasket Thinking. Like everyone really seems to be convinced in our society today that we're experiencing continual decay of how people behave and the way society is going. Is it true? We'll chat about that, but of course, what you've all been waiting for. In just a matter of minutes after Ron's news, we're going to give away 2 registrations to the Renew Women's Conference, again, coming up at Canton Baptist Temple on Saturday, September 7th. How do you win? Stay tuned to find out.
Mornings with Brian on Moody Radio Cleveland, WCRF Cleveland, WVMS Sandusky, WVML Millersburg, WVMN Newcastle, WVME Meadville, WVMU Ashtabula, and everywhere with the Moody Radio app or at moodyradio.org/Cleveland.
Hamas says it won't send a delegation to talks with Israel and negotiations scheduled for Thursday. It's 8 o'clock. I'm Ron Eastwood, Moody Radio News. Hamas said in a statement on Sunday that it wanted negotiators to present a plan to implement what was agreed upon in early July instead of pursuing further rounds of negotiations. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's office had previously said they will send negotiators to Thursday's talks to finalize the details of the implementation of the agreed framework. The scheduled talks are an effort to end the war between Hamas and Israel and to free the 115 hostages still being held by Hamas. Family, friends, and admirers are mourning the passing of Gus Frangos. Frangos was the president of the Cleveland Land Bank and had been since it was founded in 2009. He passed away unexpectedly on Saturday at the age of 69. And thousands of Ohioans are being removed from Ohio's voter rolls, making them ineligible to vote in the upcoming presidential election. Ohio Secretary of State Frank LaRose removed nearly 155,000 inactive and out-of-state voters to maintain accurate voter rolls and prevent fraud. Affected individuals have until October 7th to re-register so that they can vote in the November 5th election. Sports and weather coming right up.
Ever wondered if there's a way for Christians to meet their healthcare costs affordably and efficiently? A biblical lifestyle alternative to traditional healthcare options? The answer is Christian Healthcare Ministries. They've enabled believers to live out their faith while embracing a voluntary health cost ministry for over 40 years. It all starts with a visit to chministries.org/Moody to see how CHM meets values and healthcare costs. Get more information and have your questions answered at chministries.org/Moody.
In sports, the Guardians beat the Twins 5-3. The Pirates got walked off by the Dodgers 6-5 in 10 innings. And in case you missed it, the Browns got crushed by the Packers 23-10 in their preseason opener, while the Steelers fell to the Texans 20-12. Here's your Moody Radio Cleveland forecast. Mostly sunny this morning, then clouds will roll in later in the day. Highs in the upper 70s. At last check, we had clear skies, 61 degrees now in Cleveland, Akron and Canton 60, and in Worcester it is 60 degrees as well.
It's time for your moron moment.
Celebrate the age-old art of hunting for a good deal with National Bargain Hunting Week, which is observed annually the second week of August. We love the hunt and the final deals, whether we're searching at a yard sale, Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist, or just browsing the clearance rack at the local department store. To paraphrase the Hunger Games, may the deals be ever in your favor. And that's your Moron Moment. And you'll find that on our Facebook and Instagram. It's 8:04. With Moody Radio News, I'm Ron Eastwood.
Broadcasting live from the Bob Divine Studio. It's Mornings with Brian. Want to join the conversation? Call or text now at 440-546-22.
Mornings with Brian. Moody Radio Cleveland. 103.3 at 6 to 9 a.m.
.07, coming up here in just a few weeks, September 7th, Canton Baptist Temple. It's going to be Ladies' Day. Take it, Lauren.
No.
Your turn, Daria.
I'm getting all my papers ready for this.
Okay. Well, the women's conference is here. For many years, when I started here, the ladies, right around the time of men's conference, would go, what are we over here, Chop Liver? What is this, the Chop Liver group? What about the ladies? And we were like, fine. Lauren Cuevas herself was behind the relaunch of women's conferences in Northeast Ohio for Moody.
I twas.
You were at the table for the ideation.
Yes.
And then you made it happen, sister.
Yes, that's true.
Lauren planned the very first one single-handedly.
Well, not single-handedly, but
Well, you were responsible for it happening, logistically.
Yes.
You led the team.
I led the team.
We could call it the Lauren's Women's Conference.
No.
I like that.
I do too, actually, kind of. She'll be there, though, along with Daria, at the Renew Women's Conference, Saturday, September 7th, Canton Baptist Temple. Keynote speaker, Dr. Julie Slattery, also on the dais, as they say. Taylor James from New Community Bible Fellowship and Glenna Marshall. Daria and Lauren, a panel discussion.
This was my favorite, I think.
This has got to be your walk-up. Ladies and gentlemen, that girl.
No one would do that because we're introducing ourselves.
And I'd have to say, ladies.
Yeah.
And ladies.
More ladies.
You could just say, ladies.
Pause. Welcome, yes. And all that to say, as I've seen the phone kind of ring every once in a while, people they're ready.
They're on edge.
They're on the ready.
Because you're having us give away a pair of registrations,
That's
Lauren?
exactly right. One pair.
One pair of registrations for
Every
one
day.
lucky winner. We're going to do this every day this week.
Every day this week at 8 a.m.
So, that said, how do you want to give this one away? We're going to do what caller number?
Ron, pick a number.
7.
Ron, so biblical.
So perfect.
As soon as I said it, I thought, oh, I always say 7.
It's an instinct because you're so Christian.
I guess so.
Caller number 7 right now gets a pair of tickets to the Renew Women's Conference. Call now, 440-546-2255, 440-546-2255. Daria will chat with you. We'll announce the winner here in a few minutes. But again, caller number 7 gets a pair of registrations. If you don't want to wait to win, all you have to do is just, buy them. Go to moodyradio.org/Cleveland for more information or text RENEW to 440-546-2255. All right, so I couldn't resist talking about this one because I think there's so many implications for people of faith. But the Wall Street Journal asked the question in the headline, is the world actually in moral decline? Researchers study hell in a handbasket thinking. One of my favorite phrases.
Yeah.
And I actually thought to myself, what does that even mean? Going to hell in a handbasket.
Yeah.
Does anyone know? Do you all know? I tried to research it.
Why a hand basket, not a bushel basket or
Is it like
some other?
Is it like everything's going bad, but like it's trying to look cute? So it's in a handbasket? But like it looks nice? Like it seems like it looks nice, but it's like not?
I like that explanation. I did a bunch of research on this, and the phrase has been around as far back as 1682.
Wow.
One person drew the conclusion, going to hell in a handbasket seems to just be a colorful version of going to hell. Like, spice it up a little bit, And others say maybe it's connected to the guillotine. Like, you'd
Do they
be
have
obviously...
hand baskets?
Well, there's a basket at one end of the guillotine.
To catch your head.
To catch things, yeah. And so that's a handbasket.
Okay.
Maybe that's it. Others in the California gold rush in the 1840s, men were lowered down in handbaskets, down mining shafts to set explosives. And that was real dangerous.
Going down deep into the earth.
No consensus there. I have my own theory. My own theory is like, what's worse than going to hell? I mean, nothing. But I guess being jammed into a little basket and paraded down into hell in this cute little basket.
No, it's not like
really
Toto from The Wizard of Oz.
It would be like super embarrassing. Look at that guy, not just going to hell, he's in a handbasket. What a
That's
jerk.
not it. That's not it.
Humiliate Lauren, put her in a handbasket.
Put her in a basket and send her down.
Be going to heaven because Jesus, so I'm not worried about that. But anyway, this ties to some research that was done. So here's the scoop. Elizabeth Bernstein wrote in the Wall Street Journal, a lot about the world feels dark right now. We're reeling from a turbulent presidential race, processing an attempted assassination, divided by protests and a barrage of images and social media feeds that build our anxiety. Sometimes it seems as though we're living in the worst of times, right?
Mm-hmm.
The truth is, we're really not, she says. We're not living in the worst of times. She says, I realize that might seem hard to believe, and indeed, a robust study shows that most people think society is declining morally, steadily becoming ruder, greedier, and less kind. And so somebody decided to figure out, not only have we always thought this way, scientifically speaking, that society is going to hell in a handbasket, but are we actually going? Is it really that bad? Should we all just start nestling ourselves into a handbasket and enjoy the ride down in society, And so someone did one of those types of research where you go and you collect a whole bunch of studies done all over the world. So researchers examined research going back decades, all the way back to the 1940s.
Okay.
From 60 different countries. to evaluate this. And now think about this, right? A lot of people think the good old days were the 50s. So this was even before the good old days. This was the really good old days, the 1940s, right? Except for the whole World War II Hitler thing, but you know. But it was great in other places. So let's take a look at the research here after a quick break.
1959, Cuba.
This is the biggest demonstration in Cuba's history. Almost 1 million people are here. There is Fidel Castro, the leader.
Cuba then became a one-party, communist and atheist state.
When the revolution took over in 59, things becomes bad to the churches.
But today, this longtime Cuban pastor sees hope.
We really think that this is our time to reach our country. Now people are willing to listen to the gospel.
Cuba needs Jesus. Cuba needs you. You can be part of something really big. Join TWR in taking the good news of Jesus into Cuba every night by radio.
Radio waves can reach everywhere. Any Cuban could listen to the gospel.
Partner today with TWR. Go to CubaNeedsJesus.org.
So many ask, why is there human suffering? The book of Job directly addresses that question. And this month, Today in the Word takes readers through an in-depth study of Job in our new devotional, Seeking Answers. Join devotional author Dr. Eric Moore and over 1 million readers for this month's study. Download our free Today in the Word app or go to todayintheword.org. Be encouraged to remain strong in your faith during times of suffering.
Keeping your eyes on Jesus in a changing culture can be difficult. Let us help. It's Mornings with Brian on Moody Radio.
Mornings with Brian. Moody Radio Cleveland. 103.3 at 6 to 9 a.m.
8:20 on Mornings with Brian, WCRF. Congratulations to Peggy from Walton Hills. You won that pair of registrations to the Renew Women's Conference.
Woo!
It's coming up Saturday, September 7th, Canton Baptist Temple. Again, if you didn't get the tickets, you can either take your chances, listen this week every day at around 8 o'clock in the morning. We're going to give away a pair of registrations, or just text RENEW to 440-546-2255. Text RENEW to 440-546-2255. You can get yourself or your group registered to go to the big conference.
Yes.
Can't
If
wait.
a group of 10 or more, you get $5 off each ticket.
So hell in a handbasket thinking is something covered by the Wall Street Journal. And it's the idea that the world is just becoming a more degraded moral place continually.
Mm-hmm.
It feels that way, right? In some sense.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can almost look in your own lifetime and point to changes and go, see, it used to be better. Now it's worse.
Mm-hmm.
So the problem is research indicates something different. And I don't know what to do with this, so I want your guys' help on this. So researchers got together, examined decades of studies as far back as the 1940s, and from 60 different countries that included approximately 575,000 participants. And here's some things they found. First of all, a remarkably consistent portion of people over the years, about 60%, have believed that people are less good now than they were in the past. They've also believed that the moral decline began in their lifetime.
Right.
So if you would have asked people in the 1940s, they would have told you, we're going to hell in a handbasket.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they're still saying it today.
Yeah, about 60% of people in almost every study in every decade have talked about how life is morally worse now. And it really started when I was a kid.
Exactly.
Perhaps we've always been going to hell in a handbasket.
I think that's fair.
Since the fall.
Right.
Good point.
But this is the thing I don't know that Christians think through, spiritually speaking. I mean, it feels like things are getting worse, but in theory, it's always been bad because we've always been sinners. We haven't gotten worse in our sinfulness.
No, the sin's always been there. The sin's always been bad. The sin nature has always been there.
Mm-hmm.
It is humans' nature to turn away from God, always.
And so throughout all humanity, we've been going to hell in a handbasket inherently.
Yeah. Like there was that one point where she said, whoever was saying, people are less good. No, they've always been bad.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like the phrasing of that question.
Yeah, they've always been bad.
And yet, aren't some of the loudest people in society today talking about how bad it's gotten? They're Christians. Look how bad it is. Everyone's bad. Society's bad.
Yeah, and you weren't living in 1919 when whatever was happening then.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know what it was like, so it feels bad to you because it feels bad to you today, because it is bad. But that doesn't mean it's worse than what it was back then. Think of the church in Corinth. They were very bad.
Yep.
There was bad stuff going on there.
Is it perhaps because it's over time it's apples and oranges bad?
Yeah, it looks different.
That's part of it.
Like the Spanish flu, was it 1919 or something?
Around then.
Right. And so you have millions upon millions of people dying from the flu. That's bad.
The Black Plague or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, in the 13 and 1400s, yeah, you had Ring Around the Rosie was not just a cute little children's thing. It was, hey, everybody, we're all going to die. Let's make up a song about it.
Yeah. The Holocaust.
Bad.
Bad.
But different bad.
Yeah, there are different types of bad.
I'm wondering if this is in part a culprit of the 24-hour news cycle.
I was thinking that same thing.
And yet, I mean, it could be. And yet, remember, everyone in this study, back to the 1940s, about 60%, the majority believed that people were less good now, and then it started when they were in their lifetime. So, I mean, maybe that's the cause of our feelings now, but what would it have been in the 1940s?
World War II.
What about the fifth? But in theory, I think you can actually extrapolate this data back into the 1800s and the 1700s and the 1600s.
What is bad has changed. Like in the 40s and 50s, it was probably hemlines. Those are getting too short. So
Elvis. And those
Elvis,
hips.
yeah. So now I think what we consider bad or moral degradation just looks different.
Now, check this out. When the researchers looked at actual behaviors over time, they found something different. Year after year, people reported that others do nice things for them, and they do nice things for others. They also consistently said that their own friends and family members behave better than ever. So they found that everyone thinks society is getting worse.
Yep.
But they are never been better.
What is this study?
It's true. We're myopic that way. And we think, our childhood was happy, so things were good then. We don't remember, we choose not to remember a lot of the bad things. So you look back in the past, oh, that was good. My 20s were very optimistic and stuff. And now that I'm in my 60s, oh, this world has gone to hell in a handbasket.
Yeah, I think we often look back with rose-colored glasses.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
There's like the women are able to give birth multiple times because you forget how bad it is. It's like that. You forget all like the really bad stuff of high school when you were really sad or really depressed, or the really bad days of middle school when you got made fun of and it feels like the end of the world. And I think our brains kind of do that to be nice to us. Because if we remembered all the bad all the time, we wouldn't want to continue on.
Yeah, no, it's very true.
I wonder if it looks different too, depending on where you are. So like some countries in Africa and Asia, the gospel is flourishing over there. So I'm sure they would have probably a different response to these questions versus in the West. I think the moral degradation is a little bit more obvious. It's on full display. It's everywhere. Plus Christianity is on a sharp decline.
Well, and I've seen this other phenomena on the show before, where there have been a number of times where somebody would call in and say, persecution against Christians is terrible in America. It's the worst it's ever been. People hate us. And I would just ask a simple question in response. I'd say, oh, okay. Have you ever been persecuted because of your Christian faith? Well, no. What about someone in your family? No. What about anyone you know? No. You see, the phenomena is playing itself out here, where, again, people in the study are always saying consistently over time that they have been very nice and people are doing nice things for them. But society, that's bad. So what do we do with this? What's true in terms of this research for followers of Christ as we view today's society? Is this accurate, that things really aren't getting worse?
Well, you have to remember the journalistic credo, I guess. If it bleeds, it leads.
Right.
They always lead with bad news. If you watch any of our local news, you're not going to see the lead story be the feel good. They'll throw that third, fourth, fifth, somewhere later on as a token feel good story. But you're going to see the bad things first. And they think that's what everybody wants to know. And so that's become the de facto operation of news cycles.
Yeah, maybe. Ladies, do you think this is accurate? People's perception is, it has been the majority of people in any group, in any country, have thought things are getting worse when they're actually not. That seems to be the research when I look at it.
So you're asking if I agree that it's not getting worse or that it is?
Yeah, because this is counterintuitive. It feels like things are getting worse. What they're saying, the reality is that's not the case.
Yeah, I think if we take a look back at things that have happened in history, even just the things we know about or that we learn in history books, I don't think it's getting worse. I think it just looks different.
Yeah, we talked about a number of months ago how crime rates are actually way down from the 90s, way down. And yet we're more nervous about crime. Now, here's an interesting implication, and from the article, I'll quote the Wall Street Journal here. There's a danger to believing that people are getting worse, and when that's not really true. That belief distracts us from real problems that need to be solved. It makes us susceptible to people in power who want us to believe the worst so they can claim to be the only one who can fix it. And it keeps us from connecting with each other. This has been, as we're in a political season, this is not looking at any particular party. This is how it works. And he's the ridiculous stereotype of it, but Hitler's the perfect case in point because Nazis were so meticulous about their record keeping and their writing and such. Like Hitler's Mein Kampf is essentially, here's what the world's problems are caused by, which in his mind was Jews and other people, but mostly them. And here's how to persuade groups of people to follow you. Like it's his treatise on propaganda. And Germany was in real rough economic shape at the time. And so he just gave people answers to their problems. You guys got problems? I got not only whose fault it is, but how to fix it. And guess what people did? They followed him.
Right.
This has worked throughout history. And on top of that, there's a professor who said that he says this: human beings have been complaining about the moral decline since, well, forever. Jeremiah in the Old Testament, Cicero in ancient Rome, Machiavelli in Renaissance Italy, Cotton Mather in Puritan New England. This is a timeless thing. So how do we break free of it? This is where America is right now. We're at peak time right before a presidential election. Everyone's telling us it couldn't be worse. If you don't vote like for me, whoever I am, we're all going to die. And we believe it.
Are you declaring yourself a candidate?
That's the last thing I want to be as president of the United States. It'd be the worst. Although,
your gray hair will get worse.
On my beard? Are you
everywhere?
Saying, I don't have gray hair in my head, do I?
I don't know. I don't get that close.
I would have a ton though in like 4 years.
Oh yeah.
But I'd have a private chef. I could like call
that
somebody up
nice,
and have a cheeseburger
part,
like Bill Clinton or whatever anytime you want.
Some really nice fries.
I think we need to breathe, realize when you're looking at social media posts, foreign actors, Russia, China, Iran, it's been proven that they are submitting things into social media to try to stir up and divide our country. Been doing that for years. So when you see a meme that's like, the military record of a candidate and how he's apparently a coward at heart or something, just stop and look and say, wait a minute, let me check that. Let me follow up on that. Or you see how another candidate, had a tryst or something, and you're like, oh, maybe I should check that, So do a little research before you jump in wholeheartedly and say, yes, I hate this person because he's so immoral or such a babbling idiot.
Yeah, absolutely, Ron. Well said. And might I add that a shift in thinking for us as followers of Christ might be, I've never been worse. I'm as bad as I've ever been. Christ is good.
Amen.
Like focus on how bad you are because you're a mess. Because this type of thinking actually creates a scenario where we think that we're fine.
Yeah.
Do you see the self-righteousness in the, it's never been worse, look how bad it is? It's like I'm on my moral high ground telling you how bad it's been. I don't think it's very biblical. By the way, the Bible does say in Ecclesiastes, don't long for the good old days. This is not wise. And I think if Solomon were here, he'd be like, because it's not true. Like they were not the good old days. Your good old days were somebody's miserable days.
Right.
Interesting idea. It's not 7, it's 8:34. I know what time it is. Coming up here in just a couple of moments. You having trouble making friends? Well, one article gives some ideas on 5 ways to make friends without joining a book club. Praise the Lord, I don't want to be in a book club. Daria's like, why not? Reading's fun. I'm like, I don't want to read. Does that sound like you, Daria?
No.
5 ways to make friends without having to read. Yes, I'm in. We'll tell you what they are in a minute.
How beautiful are the feet of those who bring good news. Welcome to Footsteps from TWR. Your host is Andy Napier.
Today, let's meet some of those beautiful feet that are carrying the gospel all across Africa. Joseph Kebby is the Africa Director for New Life Africa Satellite Network. So, Joseph, how did God call you into Christian radio?
Well, I was born into a Christian family. Dad was a pastor. But of course, that didn't make me to be a Christian. It helped me, though, to know that this is the way to follow. And at a young age, I gave my life to Christ. And it was during almost the same time that we had a war in Liberia. So I escaped into a few other countries as a refugee. But during that time, I saw the power of radio. You know, we tune into radio to listen to the news, of course, about the war and know where the rebels were going. That made me to think that if the secular radio can do that, help us to navigate during the war crisis, I believe that a Christian radio can even do powerful things more than that. That was the turning point for me, because in Africa, radio is it. When I saw that, I said, I need to jump on this and see how do we utilize this medium to share the gospel effectively.
And that's why both New Life and TWR use radio to proclaim Christ throughout Africa. To learn more, go to twr.org/footsteps. twr.org/footsteps.
Footsteps is a production of TWR.
If you're 65 or older, you know this. Seeing your healthcare costs go up and up is frustrating. And maybe you were just notified that your Medicare costs are increasing again, or you're just tired of the massive deductibles. Well, here's some good news. There's a program that can really help with this. It's MediShare 65 Plus. It's an affordable, reliable alternative. You can choose any Medicare provider. You get telehealth access anytime you need it. And MediShare 65 Plus is a low-cost option for those with Medicare Parts A and B, and it fills in the gaps where Medicare stops. MediShare is a Christian healthcare community that aligns with your faith. People actually pray for you, they encourage you, and it's proven too. It's been going strong for over 30 years now. So call now. You can get one low monthly price for up to 10 years. You're not stuck with increasing costs. You can do something about this today. Call MediShare 65 Plus. Find out how much you can save. Call 833-59-SHARE. That's 833-59 SHARE. 833-59.
Mornings with Brian. Moody Radio Cleveland. 103.3 at 6 to 9 a.m.
8:41 now, WCRF. It's a constant problem for folks in this day and age. There's plenty of advantages of staying connected digitally, but making real-world friends, new ones, can be a challenge.
The worst.
Even for the young people?
Yeah, after you're like out of college and you're forced to like live in a group of people, it's hard.
And you and Eddie have experienced like intense isolation in the last year, right?
Yeah.
Because you just had a year in the house or owning the house.
Yes, we've had a year owning our house this last weekend.
And you got the babies.
Yes, and we had a baby in the last year, which is already just isolating enough having an infant because you don't really go many places.
And you're new in town, so you got to make friends.
Yeah.
So what's the secret?
I don't know. You tell me.
I
You don't know.
I gave up a long time ago, kind of. No, Daria's got the secret for
Yeah,
believers.
she really does.
Honestly, I just get lucky. So
Be a radio star and go to a new church. Is that it?
no, because most of my friends that are now my friends, they had no idea what I did for a living, and they just kind of adopted me. But recently, I was at church, and there's this couple and one other guy, the friend of the husband, sitting behind us, and they're chatting about this card game that Jimmy plays. So Jimmy like whips around. And it's like, so suddenly it's like, you know, they're having a ball talking about this card game.
Nerd party.
Yes. So the wife and I just kind of exchanged this knowing glance, and then we exchanged phone numbers, and then we had coffee.
See, it doesn't. She makes it
I
sound
gotta find
easy.
a board game wife. Sounds like.
Because Eddie plays board games. Yeah. I mean, Jimmy's very outgoing, which helps.
Yeah, and we're going to their house for games here in a couple weeks.
But I feel like that experience that you're having is not normal.
No, it's not. Like,
No, it's
this
not.
has been, honestly, this has been God. Because I had some really, really close friends in Florida. I mean, I cried when I had to leave them. And we were really good friends with this one couple. We miss them dearly. And so I really prayed. It's like, God, I need community. And he made the community come knocking on my door, essentially.
Yeah, wow. I mean, it's incredible. So they've got strategies here. And this is for you, Lauren, and for anyone else looking for friends.
I'm ready.
The first thing I misread initially, the first piece of advice from the New York Times, I thought it said start with exercise. And I was like, I'm out.
I thought so too.
I'm like,
I thought so too when I was reading this.
Did you?
Yeah, I was like, I had to read it like multiple times. I was like, so we're going to exercise classes, or like, what is this?
That sounds the worst. Like if I'm like losing my breath working out,
Yeah, I'm not talking to nobody.
which I don't, but if I were, I don't want to talk.
No.
But it's
you
not.
don't talk during the session. It's afterwards while you're toweling down. You go, oh, that was a good workout. Yeah, let's go have ice cream.
I mean,
I've been wanting to try this spinning class. Do you want to try it with me?
Yeah, people talk about spinning. What is this? What is that?
It's bikes.
Stationary bikes.
Oh, I'm like, boy, I'd get dizzy real fast if
Right.
the
I don't
whole
know why they
class
just call it cycling.
Yeah.
twirling.
Climb a rope and they twist you around and then let you go.
Let it go.
I guess I really didn't know why do they call it that? That's
It's an
dumb.
excellent question.
Well, but it actually is start with an exercise. Whew. Okay, I'm more open to this. So, a friendship coach. How do you get to be a friendship coach? Named
Be a really good friend.
That sounds made up.
Danielle Baryard Jackson, a friendship coach. Yeah, totally made up. And she's the author of Fighting for Our Friends. She says she has clients start by listing as many answers as they think of to this prompt. I am blank.
I got like two.
What are yours?
A mom and a wife and a sister and a daughter.
You're every woman.
She's
It's
that
all
girl.
in you. Yeah, well, and that's, some people would write down mom, gardener, baker, book lover. Daria would write that. Love books.
What's wrong with that?
I'm jealous, okay? You're the person I want to be.
Oh, stop.
And then what you do is you take the answers to that, and you use that to plug yourself into community things. Like I'm a crocheter, and then you find the crocheting club.
I see.
Or, now you find the mom's club or the gardening club or the community garden or whatever.
Library is a great place to find things like that.
Right.
There are clubs out there for those kind of. There used to be a lot more in the olden days.
Yeah, in the good old days.
Like I hear about my grandparents would play cards all the time. Like they had every Friday they'd play bridge or whatever, or rummy or I don't. I don't play cards.
Euchre.
Euchre, yeah. It sounds like a Minnesota game playing the euchre. So, what do you think? You like the exercise?
Yeah, I think for me, the hard part is I don't do things. I don't crochet.
You don't read books.
I have the same problem.
So
for someone like Daria, we admire you. You're like,
She
oh,
has all
look,
kinds of
which of the
activities.
things that I do should I?
Yeah.
I have so many things I do. I'll have to just let them decide who gets to hang out with me. You know?
Well, it's like knowing what you like to do is one thing, but finding a place where you can commune over that thing and then finding people that you genuinely connect with, because you don't want that to be the only thing you have in common is like, oh, we both like to crochet.
Yeah. But like Eddie has the games, Jimmy has the games.
The games.
You don't have the.
I don't play games.
Like, what's your hobby?
I don't have one. It's been a very long time since I've had a hobby.
What do you do
Keeping
for fun?
humans alive.
Yeah, I don't do anything for fun.
What?
I watch a show while folding clothes, or
Is there like a Netflix enthusiast club?
right. We all watch shows together.
Yeah, I have a similar issue. Sarah and I have chatted about this. Like we both wanted to be into something, and we're just not.
Those enthusiast things, like you mentioned, are more an online community. I can't imagine people getting together and say, oh, we all really like This Is Us, so let's get together and talk about it. But they'll post, somebody will post, and then you comment and on. But that's not the same as a friend in this description.
What are your hobbies, Ron?
Well, the thing is, I'm not looking for friends. So the whole premise, it falls short on me.
Do you have hobbies?
Yes.
A little bit of woodworking.
Oh, that's nice.
I've got, home repairs that I should be keeping up on, and, the list just keeps growing faster than I'm checking them off. Playing with my grandkids, I guess I really enjoy that.
I'm just thinking of the classic hobbies. Do people have those anymore? Like, I whittle. I
build model ships inside of a bottle.
Yeah, I play games. I don't know that people have.
I know several people that like to woodwork.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but you generally don't want to get together. Guys, I'm not going to go, hey, I woodwork. Let's get together.
You could get together and chop a tree that needs taken down. Guys like to do that, right?
I'll be doing that this fall.
No, they don't like to do that.
No?
No.
I think you don't like to do that.
Yeah, my neighbor and I.
To chop tree.
My brother and my husband would have a ball chopping a tree down.
Listen, we've got
What's fun about
we
that?
had a tree.
I don't know.
We had a tree fall on our back fence. You can come over and help Eddie chainsaw with your new chainsaw.
Yeah, I could do that.
See, look.
Fun.
But-
See?
Look, you look excited.
You were talking about your new chainsaw like this was the best thing that has happened in your life.
It's pretty exciting. But, I mean, but then what? Eddie and I cut a tree together.
Yeah.
One of us watches the other with a chainsaw.
Yeah.
And then what?
I don't know. You talk while you do
Hold
it.
hands afterwards?
No,
And-
just talk while you do it, and that's.
You can't. It's loud.
No, afterwards.
You take breaks.
You can I don't know, you need to sit and, it's hot, so, lemonade or whatever, stay
Lauren
for dinner.
could make us some fresh squeezed lemonade.
Yeah.
And you build the bond,
With
not
dirty
by,
children fingers in it.
not necessarily by talking, but by
Doing some.
Yeah, achieving a common goal.
Yeah.
Eddie and I have been to Home Depot together. We go way back.
Yeah, way back.
There you go.
It was a pretty
See,
bold
wow.
move for us to go. It was like our first date. Was going to Home Depot. It was pretty intense.
Wow.
We even went down some aisles together. It was a lot.
Wow.
Nice.
Separated for a bit.
Yep.
Missed each other. Came back together.
Right.
Yeah. 8:50. Time for a quick break. There's other strategies on here to make friends. Some of them might not be quite what you think. We'll get to it after this.
Moody Radio is thankful for The Forge, the latest movie from the Kendrick brothers about the lasting influence one person can have on another through discipleship. What does discipleship look like? The early disciples devoted themselves to the apostles' teaching, which means they committed to actively hearing, reading, and obeying the Word of God. That's discipleship. The Forge, in theaters August 23rd, rated PG, parental guidance suggested.
It's not insurance, and that's a new way of thinking for some families. Christian Healthcare Ministries is a credible way to meet family healthcare costs affordably, biblically, and effectively, whether starting or growing your family. Serving families as a nonprofit healthcare sharing ministry for over 40 years, CHM has offered families the freedom to choose how they would like to meet healthcare costs. Be pleasantly surprised and find answers to your questions at chministries.org/Moody. That's chministries.org/Moody.
You are invited to experience Moody at our beautiful campus in the heart of downtown Chicago. Campus visit days are September 13th, October 18th, or November 15th. Explore life as a Moody student, attend classes, enjoy chapel, meet with students and advisors, and view our world-class city. If you're a student or the parent of a student, learn more at moody.edu/visit. Can't make it in person? We'd love to visit with you online. Go to moody.edu/visit.
Your day is starting off strong with Mornings with Brian on Moody Radio Cleveland.
8:52 WCRF. New York Times gave 5 ways to make friends without joining a book club. Whew. Oh, who's got time to read? Daria. Other suggestions. Become a regular. Become a regular. It says the more you show up somewhere people gather, like a class or a park, the more opportunities there are to create a connection.
Yeah, think Cheers.
Yeah, sometimes you want to go where
everybody knows your name.
And they're
unless you're Ron.
Always glad you came.
So, Lauren, that means
Yes.
you go to the park?
I do go to the park.
And then you go, hey, I think I've seen you here before.
Yeah, I do go to the park a lot, but I don't think I've ever seen the same people.
See, Sarah is so good at this. She'll go to our kid's soccer game, and she'll be like, I had the nicest chat with this guy or this gal, and we found this and that. And then I go to soccer games, and no, I don't talk to anybody.
Right.
They don't talk to me. I don't talk to them. I don't know what her secret sauce is, but she's pretty great, that Sarah.
Friendly.
Is Sarah an extrovert?
No.
No?
She's very friendly, though.
Well, she's very boisterous on the sidelines. And so occasionally she'll catch herself apologizing to the person next to her. That strikes up a conversation. Yeah. So
you should ask, like, oh, who's your kid, so I can cheer for them.
And then they'll say, it's Jimmy there, number 6. Conversation done.
No, you just ask another question.
Like what?
What do you do for a living? How long has Jimmy been, interested in this sport? Do you have any other children?
Are you guys from the area?
Why are we turning attention to me? Lauren, you see people at the park. Why don't you
but it's
do
not
this?
as consistent as you're seeing the same people at games.
Yeah.
Well, but you could even do like, have I seen you here before? Because they've probably been there. You're not sure.
No,
Now
I
you're
have a pretty
striking up
good memory of seeing people.
Splash pad. You go to the splash pad all the
Go to
time.
the splash pad and the wading pools all the time.
You have to have seen people more than once.
Not the same people.
Never?
Mm-mm. Trey likes a little variety, so we go to 2 different wading pools. So we do go to the library
so
a
you're
lot, but
getting
we
out
just
of
don't go
this
to the
one.
same day. I think that's the problem. We don't go every single, like the same. It's not like we go on Wednesdays. It's just wherever the wind takes us.
Well, then hot tip. Maybe you ought to be more consistent in your attendance at the wave or at the wading pool or the
Yeah, go to the
splash pad
same day, same time.
consistently, and then you could strike up
Sure,
the
I'll tell the weather that.
But, well, and you don't strike me, though. You have the same problem I do. You're not the, hey, why don't I talk to this random person kind of gal.
No, I'm not. And also, a lot of times they're already in a group of mom friends, and I am not about to breach another group. Walk over, hello.
Yeah, you don't want to be the new girl. Let me just, squeeze my
Hey,
way.
let me talk to you,
in
and you guys
here.
are already talking.
But,
No.
Daria, though, I could see you doing it, like a pleasant
No.
smile and a, hi there.
No.
No?
No, I find people find, I don't know how this has happened, okay? Believe me, I don't know why I have so many friends.
Maybe you look like you need a friend.
Maybe.
That's so rude.
We'll take pity on this poor girl over here sitting by herself pouting.
Because I think Lauren and I are giving off the don't talk to me vibes.
Oh yeah, I know I'm doing that.
Oh, yeah, we all know you're doing that.
Yeah, that's not something I don't know
And you
about
have
myself.
a nice smile. When you take photos,
yeah.
you should just sit down and go, let me pretend I'm having a
Smile
photo
at everyone?
taken.
No,
That's not Lauren.
it's so odd. Let me just sit here and smile. If people talk to me, I talk to them. I'm not just like rude. I'm just not going out of my way to wander up to someone.
Well, in that vein, another tip on making friends without joining a book club, get closer to your neighbors. Your physical neighbors, or you could, when you see them, it's not just hello, it's compliment their gardening skills. Offer to bring up their trash bins for them. start that little chit chat with the neighbors. Lauren?
Yes, well, one of my neighbors just moved, so we have to meet the new one.
So you must live on a street with 2 houses.
No, the other one, I don't really see them outside very often, actually. So
You could deliberately go outside when they're out there.
I literally am outside all the time, but I could.
People across the street are neighbors.
Yeah, we wave at them.
Yeah, hey, love the flower beds. You and I have to say, I'm pushing you in the same way. I need to be pushed because
I literally wave at them when they drive by, when they're outside.
Daria's probably already had tea with her neighbor.
Yeah, she probably has.
Daria?
Well,
She's already shared zucchini.
We have actually.
What?
Yeah, our next door neighbors, they were out one night when we were, and so we just got to chatting, and then like she gave me the phone numbers of like everyone on the block, and we brought zucchini over.
Did I say?
Yeah.
Didn't I say?
You
She brought
did.
zucchini over.
You did. Maybe that's your thing. Next year, you and Eddie need to grow some zucchini
Yeah, we've already planned where our garden's going to be next year.
so you can just deliver the veggies.
Okay. I'll wait a whole other year. Don't need friends before then.
We had a neighbor when I first moved in Chicago, and an older lady came over. She made a banana cream pie or something, which was really sweet. And she formed a cross with Nilla wafers on it and brought over some gospel tracts and gave it to us. And we just chatted for a minute. And after she was done kind of chit-chatting, we told her, oh, no worries, we're saved. And so she wanted the gospel tracts back. She's like, you don't need these.
Oh, that happened to me the other day. That happened to me the other day.
It did?
Yes, we were eating lunch. Someone knocked on the door, and they gave me a track and were asking if I knew I was saved, and I said yes. And then they really wanted me to go into a lot of detail about how I knew. Like, they really wanted me to go into detail how I knew I was saved. So I did.
Like, I went to Moody.
I did. I was like, here, sure, I'll give you some details. Do you know?
Yeah. Turn it around.
We had a chat, and then I said, okay, bye.
So I'll be honest. So how a lot of this started is I showed up to a place I didn't want to go. My church was having an event. I'm like, I'm not going to go. I like pulled up in the parking lot. I'm like, why
Turn
am I
around
here?
now.
Why am I here? And then I go in, and I just got to chatting with people, and now they're very good friends of mine.
See, Daria can't be saying anything anymore about how she's an introvert, how she's not can't make no friends.
I don't think I ever said I can't make friends. I just said I'm an introvert, and I have limits for my social situations.
You also have a Jimmy.
I do have a Jimmy has never met a stranger.
Your husband Jimmy
James.
is so extroverted, and he's just so positive and
Yes.
outgoing.
He's
He's
the
a guy
best.
that just screams out, "Come and talk to me. I'll be your friend."
No, he will go talk to you. You don't even
have to find
He's
him.
not going to wait. He will go up to you.
Meanwhile, Lauren has an Eddie.
I got an Eddie. He's quieter than me, so
Yeah.
God bless.
And my wife Sarah is fantastic, but she's an introvert. So, lesson learned: blame our spouses.
And Ron's got a Dana. She's talking to everybody too.
Yeah, Dana has this aura of I'm your best friend.
Yeah, everybody likes her.
She's the best.
Yeah, she is.
Other suggestions here: join a group, like the volunteer at the community garden, try a board game cafe.
Yeah, join Kiwanis or Rotary or
Bible study at
Oddfellows.
church.
I don't know what any of those do. Rotary. What do they do?
They just get together.
Dial phones.
You see how much I'm over here like spinning class, Rotary. I don't know what's happening around me. People are spinning and using Rotary phones. And then dare to reach out. They suggest reach out to people from your past that have made a difference to you. One gal reached out to her 4th grade teacher, said, hey, you meant the world to me as a 4th grade teacher. And now it's like a surrogate grandma to her, this person.
Good.
Lauren's
We'll get there
given
one
up
day.
before she started. I'm going to ask you if you're going to try it, but I know your answer because I know mine. Nope.
I have my friends.
They're just not here.
The three of you.
There it is.
Aw.
We